both bad at golf, as that was reiterated to us this past weekend. They're expecting us to have a bad game, but that's not the case. We're going to have a good game. We're fine. It's one of those days where it doesn't feel good, but it's going to end up good.
Gritty performance.
Yeah, exactly. We just need to be gritty. Oh, this is great. Chris, this is an awesome video.
You like this one better?
Yeah, it's so good.
I like it better.
It's fun. Yeah.
America!
Yes, parents, please keep your children off the roofs of the dugout and away from the batting cages and bullpen. Please put all rubbish into the barrels. Kettleers from the Cuvet Athletic Association and the Cape Cod Baseball League are not responsible for damages or injuries caused by baseball. We remind you that Lowell Park is a tobacco-free ballpark. Additionally, Massachusetts Education Reform Act prohibits the use of any tobacco products at this location. Cameras and video cameras are permitted inside Lowell Park for personal photos. It cannot be used to reproduce the game, players, or on-field events without the express written permission of the Kettleers and the Cape Cod Baseball League. Use of camera or video equipment must not interfere with other fans' enjoyment of the game. Kettleers, Whitecaps, Cape Cod Baseball League, and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, athletes, coaches, team representatives, grounds for removal from Lowell Park. The Cuvet Athletic Association and the Kettleers want to ask our loyal fans to please start parking their vehicles at the Cuvet Elementary School area. You're blind lucky to field, so it'll be easy to park and leave when you want. The town closely monitoring street parking. This is a viable solution to attending Kettleer games and avoid getting parking tickets. The town is allowing parking on Lowell Ave on the side closest to the field. In addition, you can park only on the odd-numbered side of Main Street and not beyond the sidewalk. We appreciate your cooperation and, of course, support of the Kettleers.
Welcome to the Kettleers Starting 9. He's Joe Pratt. I'm Alex Rocco. And Joe, the Kettleers got off the gate in the month of July, really struggled. going 1-3, but two back-to-back dramatic finishes that both resulted in wins.
Yeah, it was super great to see that win against Bourne on Saturday afternoon. It was an 8-7 win in just 5.5 innings, and then Cotuit being silenced through the first 8 innings at Hyannis. Just 2 runs in the first inning off Tanner Thatch's 2-run home run. After that, they didn't score runs until the top of the 9th inning when they were down 5-2 in that ball game. They needed some offense. They got base runners on and were able to bring them around to score. They took that momentum into extra innings to capture their 12th win of the season. But Alex, it's amazing to say that we're halfway through the season as of today, and it's set up to be a very exciting second half.
That it is, and today marks the 3rd time that Brewster and Cotuit have squared off. What did you see in the first time these two teams played?
Well, it was 2 very different ball games. The first game, Cotuit got very stellar starting pitching from, it was Ben Jacobs at Stony Brook Field. They won that game 6-1, taking advantage of plenty fielding mistakes made by the Whitecaps on the infield, and it was more of the same for Brewster on the other side when these two teams played at Lowell Park. 10-7 it was the final, but it was really a garbage time home run for the Kettleers, so that deficit was much larger going into that final inning. But a 10-7 win the last time to snap a Kettleers 6-game win streak, and Brewster won that one. So 1-1 is the series, and it should be a great game today.
And Ryan Ure getting the ball for the Whitecaps. James Ellwanger making his second start today for the Kettleers.
Yeah, James Ellwanger will be back out there. Last time pitched on July 3rd. It was game 1 against Falmouth in the 2-game series. He went just over 2 innings in that game, gave up 3 runs, walked 3, and it was really the walks that came back to bite him. 4 strikeouts. We know he's a high strikeout guy. If he can keep on that pace and not walk too many guys today, it should be a good one.
And Joe, what is your key to the game for the Kettleers to capture win number 3?
Well, I think it's more of that, what I just said. James Ellwanger and Brooks Bryan behind the plate having good chemistry, pinpointing his pitches, and if they get into a battle here of long balls in this game, these are 2 teams that can really blast the ball out of the ballpark, as we've seen last time at Stony Brook Field and, of course, last time here at Lowell Park. And so if the Kettleers can limit the damage offensively for Brewster in terms of extra base hits, home runs, then that should be a setup for a good game for James Ellwanger, as long as he can throw strikes and, of course, keeping that solid chemistry with Brooks Bryan behind the dish.
That leads me to my key, top of the order production for the Kettleers. Tanner Thatch, Grant Jay, both have really done a nice job in a new look Kettleers starting lineup. But that'll do it here on the Kettleers starting 9. Now let's send it back up to the broadcast booth.
Director attention to the pitcher's mound. As today's ceremonial first pitch is going to be thrown out by Laonia Miranitas, the manager at Cape Cod 5 in Mashpee.
Round 3 between the Brewster Whitecaps and the Cotuit Kettleers, just moments away here at Lowell Park. I'm Alex Rocco, joined alongside by my broadcast partner Joe Pratt. And Joe, these are 2 teams that both are really playing good baseball. Cotuit's won their last 2, Brewster 3 of their last 4.
Yeah, that's right. Brewster really figured things out offensively in these last few games, and pitching-wise, they're still struggling at the worst ERA in the league, which is at a 5.56 clip. They also allow the most base runners, most hits of any other team in in the league, but offensively, the bats have really come alive, and a big reason for that is returners from the Team USA roster, guys who were playing in the College Baseball World Series earlier in June. They're making their return to the roster, and some guys newcomers to the roster, but it's a Brewster team that's very different from the last time these two teams played. Also some familiar faces as well, so it should be an exciting one here at Lowell Park.
The first time these two teams played back on June 22nd, Cotuit won 6-1 on the road. And then Brewster came here, beat the Kettleers 10-7. That snapped Cotuit's 6-game winning streak. At that point of the game, Cotuit really just fell behind, and it was the bullpen struggles.
Yeah, it was, and that's really not something that we've said so much this year, Alex, especially when considering last night's ball, or 2 nights ago, their ball game against Hyannis, where the pitchers really had to pitch out of some difficult situations, being Christian Becerra and Hunter Watkins out of GCU for the Kettleers against Hyannis. Coming into the game, both of those guys with 2 runners on base, and then Cam Schulke was tasked with closing out the ball game. And so we saw a massive turnaround from the bullpen, who struggled in the few games following that 6-game winning streak. So to be able to get back to their winning ways from what we saw in that 6-game win streak, Alex, it's been great to see. But of course, this is a Brewster team that is no stranger to snapping a Kettleers win streak. Of course, as you mentioned, 6 wins in a row, and then the 10-7 loss right here at Lowell Park. So it's a Brewster offense that can really explode for a lot of runs. They slug at a high clip, they hit a lot of home runs, and they have a great batting average, 4th in the league. So it's a team that you can't get too complacent against. Of course, you know that their record at 8-11 towards the bottom of the East Division might seem like an relatively easy opponent, but that's definitely not the case, and hopefully the Kettleers know that, and with a relatively new lineup today, they'll be able to produce.
And getting the start for Cotuit today, James Ellwanger, his 2nd start this summer. And Joe, what's Brewster's lineup looking like against Ellwanger?
Yeah, Brewster will come out in a pretty similar lineup to the last time we saw these two teams played, but of course, as mentioned, some familiar faces, starting with the top of the lineup. Nick Dumanil plays center field. Caden Kent gets his first start against the Kettleers, but of course playing against Cotuit last summer when he played for the Chatham Anglers. So he plays second and bats second, does Caden Kent. Ryder Helflick bats third. He's the DH today. Daniel Cuvet at the hot corner bats 4th. J.D. Rogers in right field bats 5th. Brody Donay out of Florida making his return to the Cape League this summer. He bats 6th behind the dish. Drew Farreau batting 7th. He plays shortstop. Dallas Macias in left field. He bats 8th. And Blake Binderup at first base batting 9th. They'll throw Ryan Urey, the right-handed thrower out of Oregon State, on the mound for the Cowboys today.
And James Ellwanger for the Kettleers making his 2nd start. And in his first start of the summer, that came back on July 3rd. Against Falmouth, he went 2 1/3 innings, allowed 3 hits, 3 earned runs, walked 3, struck out 4, and Joe, he just fell behind early and often in that first inning.
Yeah, he did. The walks really got to him, but I like that point that you bring up. Falling behind early in counts, he walked 3 batters, threw 47 total pitches, and 23 of them were for strikes. So going into that start, he was up above 60% in terms of throwing strikes. So for Ellwanger to take a step back in that category, it's kind of some issues that we saw him run into in his 8 starts at Dallas Baptist this past season. But it really was a nice job for him to get ahead of batters as that start progressed and going on, moving through the next few innings. And we've seen first inning struggles from a lot of Cotuit pitchers so far this season. So if you can get through those first 3 outs, it should set up a solid start, hopefully, for the tall right-hander out of DBU.
We could take a look at how the Kettleers are lining up in the field. Getting the start in left field is Brandon Compton. In center field is Charles Davalon. Getting the nod in right field is Nathan Hall. From third to first, it's Luke Hansen at the hot corner. Playing shortstop is Timo Becerra. At second base, Jaron Advincula. And over at first base is Tanner Thatch. Getting the nod behind the dish is Brooks Bryan, and of course James Ellwanger on the mound.
Yeah, Brooks Bryan behind the dish for the first time since June 23rd for the Kettleers. Of course, got some time with Team USA where he played really well, hit a grand slam during the weekend series there, but he gets back behind the dish. Cotuit really needing to do a better job of keeping the ball in front. Mainly the 3 catchers now on this roster need to do a good job of that. Of course, 4th in the league with 28 wild pitches. We saw a couple more of those 2 nights ago in Hyannis. So keeping the ball in front for Brooks Bryan will be something that we'll be keeping a close eye on today. But of course, for James Ellwanger to throw strikes and for those two to be clicking on all cylinders, going to be important today.
Another packed house here at Lowell Park. Swinging away is Nick Dumanil. Grounds that hard down the first base line. First pitch coming in at 5 p.m. local time. Really hot day in Cotuit. As the 0-1 pitch to Duminil, looked at for ball 1. Duminil playing in his 17th game this summer, hitting .286, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, grounder right up the middle, fielded by Ellwanger, who makes the easy flip over for the first out of the ballgame.
Well, something we've seen Cotuit pitching do really well, particularly the bullpen, is pitch to that weak contact, and we saw that right there from James Ellwanger. Not trying to do too much. Of course, we were mentioning Mike Roberts a couple nights ago at Chatham, where Jansen Kiesel struggled through that first inning, said he was really trying to pinpoint his pitches, trying to force them in there and not just letting them fly, and I think that's what Ellwanger also needs to do today.
Now it's the second baseman, Caden Kent. Ellwanger's first pitch to him, taken outside for ball 1. Caden playing in his 7th game this summer, hitting .440, really gotten off to a hot start, 11 for 25. So next offering, taken well outside and low for ball 2. Also has brought in 5 RBIs. As the 2-0 pitch chops slowly down the first base line. So 2-1 in the count here is Kent. James Ellwanger this summer, 0-2 record, 3.68 ERA. Has gone 7 1/3 innings pitched, struck out 13. As this slowly hit down the third base line, Ellwanger fields his throw to first. In time, they got him. Strong play by James Ellwanger coming off the mound as back-to-back groundouts begin the top of the first.
Yeah, a couple great plays in the field for James Ellwanger. 2 weakly hit balls off the bat of Duminil, off the bat of Kent. Jams him there in off of his hands with the hard fastball. So these are good couple at-bats here faced for James Ellwanger, and now 1 out away from escaping this first inning very quickly.
Now it's the designated hitter today, Ryder Helfrich. First pitch to him, laid off for ball 1, inside. Helfrich, dangerous hitter at the dish, hitting .277 so far this summer through 17 games. Ellwanger kicks and deals, misses everything and avoids the glove of Brooks Bryan. But Helfrich, .277 hitter, 5 home runs, 20 RBIs. As the 2-0 to him, taking high once again as he's up in the count 3-0.
Yeah, just missing upstairs with the fastball. Needs to get on top of it. Saw that his last time out at Falmouth. 3 walks, led to 3 earned.
The 3-0, belted. Left center field in deep. On the run is Charles Davalon, but all he can do is watch it fly as Ryder Helfrich blasts another home run this summer as Brewster takes the early 1-0 advantage.
Helfrich with a blast, their 3rd first-inning home run of the season for Brewster. And Helfrich his 6th, which ties him for 2nd in the league with Tanner Thatch, who stands over at first base. And that's a pitch there where Ellwanger falls behind in the count early, has to try to get back over the top with a fastball, and Helfrich was looking for that all the way, and he deposits it into the trees in left center.
6th home run of the summer for Ryder Helfrich, RBI number 21. A swing away, J.D. Rogers, or Daniel Cuvet, excuse me.
Helfrich is someone who's done it all this season so far with the Whitecaps, 2nd in the league in RBIs, 3rd in the league in home runs, now 2nd, also in the top 10 in stolen bases.
Ellwanger doing a nice job coming back here against the 3rd baseman. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, foul tipped into the glove of Brooks Bryan. But Brewster gets on the board first with a 2-out home run by Ryder Helfrich. We head to the bottom half of the inning with the Whitecaps leading 1-0 here on the Cats Digital Network.
This Saturday, the Kettleers are reuniting the 1995 champions by welcoming the championship-winning team back to Lowell Park. a blast from the past. Several of the players will take batting practice before a pregame ceremony honoring the team, followed by a group first pitch. The Kettleers will take on Chatham, the team Cotuit beat in 1995 for his 13th CCBL title. Join us in welcoming Kettleers history Saturday, July 13th at Lowell Park.
Operating on Cape Cod since 1988, Advanced Embroidery has garnered national awards in embroidery and screen printing. They offer screenings on golf shirts, Oxford shirts, jackets, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and bags. Advanced Embroidery will print your company's or team's logos anywhere. Thousands of satisfied customers can attest for Advanced Embroidery's attentive customer service, tight quality control, and quick turnaround time. They're open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday on 38 Plant Road in Hyannis.
Beacon Gardens is a full-service garden center right here in Mashpee. They sell a variety of landscaping materials and seasonal produce to both consumers and landscaping professionals around the Barnstable Village. Stop by and see all Beacon Gardens has to offer at 182 West Barnstable Road in Austerville.
A hot start for the Whitecaps as they have a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first after the solo two-out home run by Ryder Helfrich, and now Ryan Urey, the tall lefty, goes up against this Cotuit Kettleer lineup, Joe.
Yeah, it'll be the second time that Ryan Urey faces the Kettleers. First time coming the last time these two teams played right here at Lowell Park. He went 2/3 of an inning, struck out one, didn't give up any base runners in the small sample size against Cotuit so far this season. But here are how the Kettleers line up against the lefty. It'll be Grant J leading things off for the third straight game at the DH position. Tanner Thatch bats behind him and plays first. Timo Becerra batting third, playing at shortstop. Brooks Bryan, as mentioned, getting his first start behind the plate since June 23rd, batting cleanup. Nathan Hall gets his first game started since last Friday. Brandon Compton back in left field, batting sixth. Luke Hansen gets his first start as a Kettleer, playing at third and batting seventh. And Charles Davalon and Jaron Advincula will be the 8 and 9 for the Ketts today.
So Grant J digging in, getting set to play in his 15th game this summer. As Urey first pitch to him, lofted high into right field, tracking it and getting underneath it is J.D. Rogers, who makes the grab for the first out.
You know, that's what you like to see from Grant J, though, who's really struggled at his last couple games at the dish. Of course, had that double off of the left field fence in his first game as the leadoff man. But 3 strikeouts again in Hyannis on Sunday night. You want to see him up there aggressive, attacking, and gave that one a pretty good ride on the first pitch he saw.
Now it's Tanner Thatch, lefty-lefty matchup as the first pitch from Urey. Looked at for strike number 1. Taking a look at how the Brewster defense lines up. Starting in left field, Dallas Macias. In center field, Nick Duminal. In right field, J.D. Rogers. At third base, Daniel Cuvet. As Thatch tips it into the glove of the catcher, Brody Donay. But at shortstop, Drew Farreau. At second base, Caden Kent. At first base, Blake Brinderup. And getting the nod behind the dish is Brody Donay. And Ryan Urey out on the mound. His 0-2 pitch well outside and low. As Thatch lays off, the count is 1-2. Thatch really on a tear in his last few games. Back-to-back home runs in back-to-back games. The 1-2 pitch to Thatch. Popped high and out of play back into the parking lot. Thatch has his average all the way back up to 246, but Joe has struggled against left-handed pitchers. The 1-2 pitch. Off-speed laid off and tight to Thatch. Count is even at 2-2. 3-pitch mix for the lefty, Urey. Fastball, slider, and changeup. The 2-2 on the way. Tipped into the glove of the catcher, Donay, and 2 quick outs for Urey here in the bottom half of the inning.
Yeah, well, Tanner Thatch, 2 hits against left-handed pitching so far this season and has demolished right-handed pitchers. So today, the Kettleers will have to work Urey out of this game if Tanner Thatch wants to have some good looks, and he will go down on strikes. 2 quick outs, but that's exactly what the Ketts did in the top half of this inning.
Now it's Timo Becerra. First pitch nearly comes in and hits Becerra as he backs out of the way. playing in his 10th game this summer, hitting just 158. Is the Kettleers shortstop. So next offering taken well downstairs for ball 2. Sarah, all 3 hits that he's had this summer have come against Bourne, but he hits this one in the straightaway center field. Making the grab is Nick Duminil. So 1-2-3, bottom of the first for Ryan Urey. As we head to the top of the second here at Lowell Park, Brewster leads 1-0.
Bortolotti Construction is your go-to provider for all excavation, drainage, and waterworks services. On top of that, they offer landscape filling materials such as sand, native stone, gravel, shells, and more. Serving Cape Cod and the islands for 30 years, Bortolotti Construction is committed to serving its community. Visit at 45 Industry Road in Marston's Mills or call 508-771-9399.
The Cape Cod League All-Star Game is just a few weeks away. Cheer on your favorite Kettleers as they square off with some of the best players on the Cape. This year's game will be played in Falmouth on July 27th. The gates open up at 1:30 p.m. ahead of the 6 o'clock first pitch. All-Star Game tickets can be found at www.capecodleague.com/All-Star Game. Or you can find out more information about the tickets at the Kettleers store.
For nearly 2 decades, Coastal Irrigation has proudly provided top-notch irrigation and landscape lighting services across Cape Cod. Starting with just a handful of customers in Cotuit, they now serve nearly all of the Cape. Upgrade your lawn care with their modern irrigation systems. No more dragging around hoses or worrying about watering while you're away. Their systems ensure your grass stays healthy and green effortlessly. Transform your home with Coastal Irrigation's landscape lighting services. Enhance your outdoor gatherings, improve safety, and boost curb appeal with their affordable, low-voltage lighting solutions. Illuminate your walkways and highlight architectural details to make your home shine. Contact Coastal Irrigation at 508-428-1529 or info@.
Brewster leads Cotuit 1-0 here in the top of the second as the 5, 6, 7 hitters bat here against James Ellwanger, who returns to the mound. Made just one mistake in that top of the first, but it left the yard. The solo shot from Ryder Helfrich, but here is the lefty and right fielder J.D. Rogers. Ellwanger, first pitch, well outside, taken for ball 1. Rogers has been on a tear of late, hitting .340. In the middle of this Brewster lineup is Ellwanger, the 1-0 taken high and outside for ball 2. The 2-0. Broken back ground ball to the second baseman at Vincula. Field's cleanly throw is in time as Shady Rogers is set down for the first out. Now it's the catcher Brody Donay digging in for his first at-bat today. Ellwanger, the tall righty, kicks and deals. Runs high and in tight. Donay lays off. Returner to the Cape is Donay as a high looping breaking ball from Ellwanger taken for strike number 1. 1-1 is the count. Ellwanger, fastball taken at the knees and inside for ball 2. The 2-1 on the way got him fishing in the dirt as Ellwanger evens the count up here at 2-2.
Donay, a high strikeout guy through his small sample size so far this season, something that he struggled with last year on Hyannis too.
The 2-2 from Ellwanger got him swinging. Second strikeout of the ball game for James Ellwanger as he's made quick work here of the 5 and 6 hitters here in the top of the second.
Well, that's how over 35% of the at-bats for Brody Donay so far this summer have ended up going down on strikes, chasing low and outside of the zone, and a really nice pitch by Ellwanger there.
Now it's the shortstop Drew Farrow. First pitch taken for ball number 1. Furrow hitting .229 as Ellwanger evens the count up as Furrow lays off. High looping breaking ball, that catches the strike zone, and Ellwanger getting ahead here. Count is 1-2. Ellwanger working quickly. Deals the 1-2 pitch. Fastball at the letters. Furrow checks his swing. The appeal down, he does not go. So the count evens up at 2-2. Ellwanger now up to 15 strikeouts this summer as the 2-2 pitch on the outside corner. Just laid off. So the count runs full here.
Yeah, Ellwanger going into this start with the most strikeouts on this entire roster for pitchers, 13.
The 3-2 hit on the ground to the shortstop. Becerra fields cleanly. Strong throw is in time to nab Drew Furrow. So it's a 1-2-3 top of the second for James Ellwanger as we head to the bottom half of the inning with Brewster leading Cotuit 1-0.
Cape Cod Coffee is a proud sponsor of the Cotuit Kettleers. They offer breakfast and lunch, as well as indoor and outdoor dining. Check out Cape Cod Coffee at one of their 3 locations, on Route 130, at Mashpee Commons, and at Wareham Commons, or on their website at capecodcoffee.com.
Since 1980, the O'Rourke family has been catering Cape Cod clam bakes, making your events delicious and memorable. Founded by Jake O'Rourke, Jake's Clam Bakes has become a beloved tradition, now carried on by his son, Dan. Choose from our menu options, and on the day of your clam bake, their crew will come to your site and steam a fresh, mouth-watering clam bake just for you. It's that easy. Call us at 833-252-6285 or visit our new takeout location at Building 6 on 3821 Route 28 in Marston's Mills. Email us at dan@jakesclambakes.com with your event details, number of guests, date, time, location, and any special requests like a raw bar, homemade desserts, or kids menu. Not catering? Try their takeout menu featuring lobster rolls, smash burgers, salads, sandwiches, and a smoothie bar. Jake's Clam Bakes, making Cape Cod gatherings unforgettable.
4-5-6 due up here for the Kettleers in the bottom of the second. Alex Rocco, Joe Pratt, and Adele Huffman taking you through game 3 between Brewster and Cotuit. Slow ground ball hit to the second baseman. Kent fields cleanly. Throw is in time as Brooks Bryant set down for the first out here in the bottom of the second.
Well, Yuri's been efficient so far, 4 up, 4 down. A first ground ball out for him today. And a guy who, we're talking with some of the Brewster broadcasters before the game, they're saying how he's really worked himself into trouble with command issues, putting a lot of base runners on by the walk, hit by pitch. But so far today, really pitching to the bats of the Kettleers.
Yuri pitched this past season at Oklahoma State. Now it's Nathan Hall who takes the first pitch inside for strike number 1. Pitched just 3.2 innings this past year at Oklahoma State. Allowed 3 hits, 2 earned runs as Hall hits this one into center field. That'll dunk down. So it's the first hit of the day for the Kettleers as Nathan Hall reaches with 1 out.
Well, Hall's someone who's kind of had to work his way back into an everyday starting role. We've kind of seen his play limited a little bit since the USA guys have come back, but it's nice to see him get on base there. And in each of his last 5-game start, he's been able to reach in all but one of those and is now 6 for 19 during that span. So it really just has been a lack of consistent play for Nathan Hall over a lack of consistency in general.
Yuri kicks and deals. First pitch to the lefty, Brandon Compton, taken low for ball number 1. Compton was used as a pinch hitter against Hyannis, drew a walk. That crazy top of the ninth, that saw Cotuit score 2 to even the score at 4. Yuri pickoff move, Hall back in standing. Such a massive victory it was for the Kettleers, trailed in that contest. Offense really went quiet after Tanner Thatch hit a 2-run home run, just 2 batters into the game. 1-1 is the count here against Compton.
Yeah, it was just 3 base runners from the second to through the 8th inning at Hyannis the other day, and Cotuit, they really seemed down and out, but the offense in their last chance was able to finally get something going, and it was really just base runners. That's all you need. One guy got on by a walk, by an error. I believe it was Max Ballou and Devin Taylor, both guys who are really great at getting on base, and those USA guys making a massive difference late in that ball game.
Yuri pickoff move, Hall back in standing.
But we've kind of seen that in the last couple games, Alex, where the offense will kind of falter through half of the game, maybe 7 out of the 9 innings in a game like we saw. And Mike Roberts said he just wants more consistency from his guys after the game at Chatham. And you get into games like that where it's low scoring.
Slow chopper to the first baseman, Binder up, who tags Compton for the second out. Moving up to second is Hall.
Of the first 3 games that they lost early on this July, 2 of them were by 2 runs, 1 of them was a 1-run loss, and a lot of that comes down to fielding and timely hitting when the game matters most, and Cotuit prevailing in that mark on Sunday night.
Now it's Luke Hansen making his first start this summer. Was used as a pinch hitter against Chatham. Struck out in that game. But getting the nod at third base today is that Yuri, first pitch to Henson, taken well outside for ball number 1. Hall leads off second. He notched to Cotuit's first hit today. 1-out single as Yuri comes home. Deals taken low by Hanson, or taken in there for strike number 1. Scoreboard said both, so it was even. And then moved back to 2-0. So 2-0 is the count here against Hanson. Long look back at Hall, who leads off second. The 2-0, big cut on and missed. So 2-1 is the count here. Hanson played this past year at UVA. Played in 54 games, hit .286. Drove in 37 runs as a 2-1. Cut on and missed by Hanson, and now the count is even at 2-2. Ryan Yuri missed the 2023 season, had Tommy John surgery. As the 2-2 to Hanson taken high and outside as he works the count full. Pitched in Brewster in 2022. Had a 1-1 record. 1.5 ERA, and tossed 24 innings. The 3-2 to Hanson spiked in the dirt. That gets away from the catcher, Donay. Moving up to third base is Nathan Hall, so Luke Hansen reaches as Cotuit has runners on the corners with 2 outs.
Yeah, good at-bat work there by Luke Hansen. 2 outs in the inning, had to protect, and Yuri struggling with more of what has kind of been his struggle so far in this season for him. Missing the strike zone, allowing that base runner early on, and then, of course, the ball getting away from Brody Donay. These are some of the mistakes that Brewster has fallen into in a lot of ball games so far this season, but they're competitive in a lot of ball games, too. It's just pitching-wise have been missing the mark, and we're seeing more of that here.
Now it's Charles Davalon, who had an RBI groundout in the win against Hyannis. Swing away at the first pitch. Tipped into the glove, so 0-1 is the count. Big spot here for Davalon. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. Hall leads off third. Hanson off first. The 0-1 taken beneath the knees. Count even at 1-1. Davalon transferring to Arkansas after he played this past campaign at Florida Gulf Coast. Made 56 starts. Hit 10 home runs as the leadoff hitter. That ball lined and fair down the first base line. Davalon takes a turn. He will head for second. Nathan Hall comes in and scores. Luke Hansen puts the brakes on at third. But it's an RBI double for Charles Davalon, and this game's even at 1.
Davalon ropes that one down the right field line, and God, that's got to feel great for him. His second double of the season, 3rd extra base hit after that home run in his Kettleers debut, and has kind of faltered at the plate since then, but great to see him back in the groove of things to knot up this game at 1 in the bottom of the 2nd.
Second hit of the day for Cotuit. Now that brings up Jaron Advincula. Runners in scoring position and 2 out as Advincula, slow dribbler to the second baseman Kent, who fields cleanly throw in time to nab Advincula for the third and final out of the inning. But the Cotuit Kettleers bats come alive as it's an RBI double by Charles Davalon that evens the score at 1. We'll send it now down to field level with our sideline reporter, Adele Huffman.
Thanks, Joe and Alex. On the road, the Kets are actually second in runs, home runs, and RBIs. And the next 5 out of 6 of our next games are actually on the road for the Kets. So we spoke to Willie T, one of our coaches, before the game, and he said, quote, historically, we've done a really good job of playing and winning on the road, and continued to talk about how these away games, when we win them, it really separates us from the pack. So it'll be interesting, Joe and Alex, to see if we can keep it up and separate ourselves from the rest of the pack in these upcoming games. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Adele. Excellent work once again, and talked about the road games and the success that Cotuit's had on the road. They're going to need that upcoming in the next few games, Joe.
Yeah, definitely. 5 of their next 6 games will be on the road. Of course, the game that was rained out a week ago in Hyannis, that'll be played Thursday, so we're at Wareham tomorrow, Hyannis Thursday, Harwich again on Friday before taking on Chatham here at home on Saturday, but then they hit the road again to play at Bourne. So a lot of West Division games coming up, a lot of important ball games against teams that will definitely be vying for those 2nd, 3rd, 4th spots in the West Division, but mainly Wareham tomorrow night, 13-5-1, off to a great start this season. And the Kettleers, a pair of wins, a win today, a win tomorrow over Wareham, a loss for Wareham today, could jump them right into the number 1 spot in the West Division.
Cotuit coming in second in the West with a 12-7 record. Wareham playing later. First pitch, just about 33 minutes. Wareham Chatham. Now it's Dallas Macias who's hitting 8 in today's lineup. First pitch to him, low and outside, taken for ball 1. Chatham and Wareham play at 6, and at 6:30, Hyannis and Harwich. The 1-0 from Ellwanger, high lofting foul ball down the left field line. So Ellwanger, after giving up the 2-out solo home run to Ryder Helfrich, has retired the last 4 hitters he's faced with a pair of strikeouts. The 1-1. This one hit to the shortstop. Becerra fields cleanly. His throw to first base in time as Macias takes a tumble, but he's retired for the first out.
Yeah, nice play by Timo Becerra. Had to enter in the game on Sunday night as a defensive substitution and a guy who has been readily available on the bench so far early on in this season. Of course, you mentioned the amount of games that he's been able to play in. Not too many starts, though, just his 3rd start at shortstop, and so good to see him field another ground ball cleanly, his 2nd received of the day.
Now it's Blake Bender up. First pitch to him. Laid off for ball 1. Playing in his 4th game this summer. He's 2 for 9. Coming off a year at Texas A&M where he played in 19 games. High lofting foul ball down the first base line. And Joe, another packed house here at Lowell Park.
Yeah, another great crowd on hand. Fans down either baseline. A little bit less of a contingency in the outfield, but of course that home grandstand packed as always.
1-1 taken beneath the knees. 2-1 is the count here. Ellwanger, 34 pitches, big swing on and miss. So 2-2 is the count here. 35 pitches, 18 strikes. As a 2-2 on the way, got him swinging. 3rd strikeout of the day for James Ellwanger as there's quickly 2 gone here in the top of the 3rd.
Goes back with the breaking ball, low and away from the right-handed hitting Binder up. And that is 3 right-handed bats that Ellwanger has been able to fan today for 3 strikeouts. So for him to keep getting ahead of these right-handed bats and then throw the breaking balls low and outside, it's been working well.
Nick Duminil lines this one into right field. Nathan Hall on the backhand cuts it off. So it's another 2-out hit for Brewster. as Nick Duminil moves to 1 for 2 on the contest.
That's great hustle there from Nathan Hall, who was playing deeper down the line in right field. Mike Roberts electing to shift both of the corner outfielders closer towards the lines, expecting them to flare it or hook it. And Duminil is able to get a base hit there, was probably thinking two out of the batter's box, but Hall able to cut it off in the alleyway.
Now it's Caden Kent. First pitch to him, looked at for strike number 1. Kent 0 for 1 on the day. Ground ball back to James Ellwanger. As Duminil lead off first. Ellwanger, glove set, deals the 0-1 pitch. Line straight back into the fence behind home plate. Kent played this past year at Texas A&M, hit .327 in 51 games. 4 home runs, 28 RBIs. As the 0-2 pitch, Duminil takes off. Throw down from Bryan, not in time as Nick Duminil swipes second base. As Kent laid off, count is 1-2. With Duminil now standing in scoring position.
Yeah, 45th stolen bag of the season for the Whitecaps. Jamie Shevchik, the manager for Brewster, really liking to be aggressive on the base paths, and they were first place in the league for quite a while, but Bourne overtaking them.
14th stolen base of the year for Nick Duminil, but it does not matter as James Ellwanger gets the punch out of Caden Kent. So Ellwanger 4 strikeouts through the first 3 innings of play. We head to the bottom half of the inning with Brewster and Cotuit even at 1 apiece here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Coastal Rentals is the place to go for professional landscape and construction equipment. Whether you need tools and equipment for commercial use or for your own projects, Coastal Rentals has what you need. Purchasing gear is also available. Check out Coastal Rentals today.
Discover a treasure of nearly 70,000 books at the Isaiah Thomas bookstore right here in Cotuit. Founded in 1969 and relocated to a restored 1860s Crocker family house in 1990, their shop is a haven for book lovers of any age. Visit the Isaiah Thomas bookstore on 4632 Falmouth Road in Cotuit or contact at 508-428-2752.
Kettleers baseball clinics are well underway in the summer of 2024, offering boys and girls ages 6 through 17 with the opportunity to learn from some of the most experienced coaches and some of the top college baseball players in the country. With no prior baseball experience necessary, the camps teach kids the fundamentals of baseball, as well as good citizenship, sportsmanship, and character. With just a few weeks of camp left, time is running out. So to sign up, head over to info.collegebaseballcamps.com/CK. Again, that's info.collegebaseballcamps.com/CK.
James Ellwanger has made it through 3. Here at Lowell Park, he's gone 3 innings, allowed 2 hits, 1 run. Struck out 4, but there is action in Cotuit's bullpen. Does look like it's Cade Fisher, lefty warming up. Right now, it's the top of the Kettleers lineup as Grant J facing Ryan Urey for the second time. As Urey pulls ahead, the first pitch that's looked at to Grant J. J today 0 for 1 with a fly out to J.D. Rogers in right field as the lefty deals. Taken well off the plate, count even at 1-1. Urey so far today has gone 2 innings. 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and a strikeout as Jay falls behind here. Count is 1-2. 30 pitches for Ryan Urey, 18 strikes. As the lefty deals the 1-2 pitch, got him swinging. Grant Shea set down on strike, second strikeout of the day for Ryan Urey, and now that brings up Tanner Thatch.
Yeah, Urey working those pitches from the left side of the mound well against Grant J, who goes after that pitch low and outside. Jay missing the mark once more. And for Tanner Thatch to step up and have a good at-bat as well. Really important, as you brought up in the pregame show, Alex, the top 3 in this lineup needing to turn in a good day.
Tanner Thatch, deep drive into right field. Backtracking is J.D. Rogers, leaping and he makes a fantastic grab at the wall. J.D. Rogers leaping up and robbing Tanner Thatch of what would have been his 7th home run, or at least extra base hits.
Yeah, power alley for Tanner Thatch, as we've seen him go deep there 3 times in the last week, it seems like. And that one there, what a great play by J.D. Rogers in right field. Did that at Vanderbilt this past season and making a massive difference here early on in this ball game. That's one that we could look back at the end of this game and potentially say is a game-saving play.
So a loud second out of the inning off the bat of Tanner Thatch as Becerra, foul ball out of play down the first base line.
And we haven't seen Thatch square up like that on a left-handed pitcher so far this year. Gets one low and inside from the lefty Ure and blasts it to right field, but clearly not enough.
Thatch 10 strikeouts this summer in 27 at-bats against left-handed pitching. As Becerra, high-towering pop-up into straightaway center field. Going into a dive is Caden Kent as he makes the play for the 3rd out of the inning. So Brewster's defense coming to play here in the inning as J.D. Rogers makes a leaping grab, robbing Tanner Thatch, and Caden Kent goes into a dive here on Timo Becerra. So we head to the top of the 4th. Cotuit and Brewster remain tied up at 1 here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
When the unexpected happens, make sure you and your assets are insured appropriately. The agents at Leonard Insurance Agency can tailor coverage to meet your needs. Call 508-428-6921 to talk to their licensed agents today.
Since 1995, MK Pasic Plumbing and Heating has been your trusted commercial and residential plumbing contractor in Massachusetts. They specialize in new and rehabilitation work, gas and pipe fitting, climate control, heating, HVAC, oil burner work, boiler installation, radiant heat, forced hot water, air conditioning, and duct and sheet metal fabrication services. Founded and owned by Michael Pasic, a team of 9 skilled professionals is dedicated to providing top quality service. MK Pasic Plumbing and Heating is registered with the Massachusetts Board of State Examiners of Plumbers and the Department of Public Safety. For all your plumbing and heating needs, contact MK Pasic Plumbing and Heating at 508-420-3429 or at 60 Clamshell Point Lane in Cotuit. MK Pasic Plumbing and Heating, proud sponsor of the Cotuit Kettleers.
As the score is 1-1 after 3 as James Ellwanger returns to the mound here to start inning number 4. As he faces the 3-4-5 hitters in the Brewster lineup, Ryder Helfrich, who took James Ellwanger deep with 2 outs in the first inning, the leadoff man.
Yeah, Ellwanger done a nice job settling in nicely after giving up the 400-plus foot bomb to Ryder Helfrich, and now has a second opportunity against him to lead off this 4th inning.
6 home runs for Helfrich this year. As Ellwanger starts him out, first pitch on the inside corner, taken for ball number 1. Helfrich hitting .288, now up to 6 home runs, 21 RBIs, as the 1-0 well outside. So Helfrich quickly up in the count 2-0 here. This past season at Arkansas, played in 31 games, hit .179. As he hits this one straightaway center field, camping underneath it is Charles Davalon. So Ryder Helfrich retired for the first time today, as James Ellwanger continuing to dice up this Brewster order.
Yeah, another one given a ride by Ryder Helfrich, who swung a hot bat as of late, but it's the first flyout of the day allowed by James Ellwanger. Before that, 5 groundouts and 4 strikeouts.
Ellwanger hit this one on the ground to Becerra. His throw in time. What a stretch by Tanner Thatch. On the ground ball hit by Daniel Cuvet, Becerra bobbled it momentarily, but Tanner Thatch makes a great stretch as Cuvet is retired for the second out.
Yeah, collaborative effort there between the shortstop and first baseman. Becerra having to charge in on that chopper. He kind of takes it in his midsection there off the heel of the glove, is still able to locate it and throw all while on the run, and Tanner Thatch scooping that one up the first base line to pick up a massive second out of this inning. Of course, you mentioned Cade Fisher warming up in the Kettleers bullpen. He's still out there, the lefty, warming and pretty much just watching and waiting for his name to be called. But if James Ellwanger is able to get through J.D. Rogers, that'd be perfect.
Rogers 0 for 1. As back-to-back pitches go straight back to the fence here.
Yeah, now with a 2-0 count, those ones not even close, and Ellwanger's day will be finished.
So Mike Roberts makes the slow trek to the mound, points out to his bullpen. So Cade Fisher will be coming in as James Ellwanger. His afternoon is over as he goes 3 2/3 innings, allowed 2 hits, 1 run, and struck out 4. As we'll step aside here for a quick commercial break with the new arm warming up.
Bullpen is brought to you by longtime Cotuit resident Adam John Callahan and Finland Grover Compass. With over 4 decades of experience in commercial lending and real estate, Adam John is a go-to choice for all things real estate in Cotuit and surrounding towns. Visit them at 681 Fallons Road in Nashville. That's the Callahan. Finland Grover Compass, proud sponsors and longtime fans of the Kettleers. Now pitching for Cotuit, number 32, Cade Fisher, out of Florida. Fisher, number 32, now pitching for the Kettleers.
James Ellwanger starts out the top of the 4th with a flyout by Ryder Helfrich and a ground out by Daniel Cuvet, but back-to-back pitches that went straight back to the backstop, and Mike Roberts has made his first call to the bullpen, bringing on the lefty, Cade Fisher. So 2-0 is the count here against the lefty, J.D. Rogers. He's 0 for 1, as Ellwanger did a much better job here in this start compared to his last against Falmouth.
Yeah, he definitely did. Didn't run into walks, didn't walk anybody, allowed just 2 hits, and the one big mistake, the home run in the first inning. But other than that, caused a lot of weak contact, 5 ground outs, just 1 flyout, and 4 Ks.
It's the second appearance this summer for Cade Fisher. It's his first pitch looked at for strike number 1. 2-1 is the count here. Pitched against Falmouth back on July 4th. Went 1 inning. As the 2-1 pitch taken. So 3-1 is the count. Went an inning, walked a batter, struck out a batter. As J.D. Rogers draws the 2-out walk here. The first free pass today for the Whitecap lineup.
Always difficult to enter a game with the count already 2-0, especially as a relief man. Cade Fisher thought he might have an opportunity to start in today's game, but then pushed back to the first man out role, and that's exactly what he was his last time out on July 4th, where he pitched just 1 inning against the Commodores.
Now it's the catcher Brody Donay. First pitch taken for ball number 1. Donay 0 for 1 today. Was the second of 4 strikeouts for James Ellwanger. Getting his first at bat against the lefty Cade Fisher. Towering fly ball, foul down the right field line and out of play. So count even at 1-1 to the Brewster catcher. He's hitting just .222 this summer. Rogers takes a lead off first. 1-2 pitch. High fly ball into the outfield. Getting underneath it is the center fielder, Charles Davalon, for the third and final out. So James Ellwanger gets the first 2 batters out. And then after 2 balls, Cade Fisher comes in, allows a walk to J.D. Rogers, but gets Brody Donay to fly out. So 1 runner is stranded here in the top of the 4th. We head it to the bottom half of the inning with the Whitecaps and Kettleers tied at 1 here on the Cats Digital Network.
Be a part of historic Lowell Park and support the Cotuit Kettleers by purchasing a paver engraved with your personal message to be placed in the new Walk of Champions. For more information, visit the Cotuit Kettleers website.
Escape the summer heat at Polar Cave Ice Cream Parlor, located on Route 28 in Mashpee, right at the Barnstable town line. Our creamy, homemade ice cream flavors will delight your taste buds. Plus, Kettleers kids get a free comb on home game days. Call us at 508-477-5553 or email info@polarcave.com to learn more. Come chill with us and experience the coolest treats on Cape Cod.
RCA Electric and Generators is dedicated to helping homeowners and building contractors select, purchase, install, and maintain the ideal generator for their specific needs. Since being founded by Randy Agnew in 1990, this Barnstable-based family-run business has grown its reputation by serving all of Cape Cod, the South Shore, and the South Coast. Get in touch today by reaching out to RCA at 508-428-0449 or visit in person. Ryan Urey returns to the mound for his 4th inning of work. Just 2 hits for Brewster, 2 hits for the Kettleers. But now it's the 4, 5, and 6 hitters due up, and this was the part of the order that really got things going in the bottom of the 2nd.
Yeah, it was. Nathan Hall getting things started with the single. He would come around and score on the 2-out RBI double from Charles Davalon. And credit Ryan Urey so far today to pound the zone, attack these hitters. Cotuit being also aggressive on the other side of that. So it's a good battle between these hitters and the tall lefty out of Oklahoma State.
There is a righty warming up for the Whitecaps. The lefty Urey comes on to face the lefty Bryan. Bryan today 0 for 1. First pitch looked at for strike number 1. Bryan grounded out to the second baseman, Caden Kent. As the 0-1 from Urey, Bryan towering pop-up. That gets foul right near the home grandstand. What a play.
Nice grab by a young fan. No hesitation. He was under it, called everyone off.
The 0-2. He peeled down to third. Bryan did not go.
Third base umpire wasn't even looking.
Jonathan LaMattina at third base. Might have been distracted by the catch.
He might have been.
The 1-2. This one low in the dirt. So the count even at 2-2 to the Kettleers catcher coming back from Team USA, playing in his second game. Hitting the 3 spot against Hyannis, but he goes down on strikes here. As Ryan Urey begins the inning with his third strikeout, the first looking, as he's gone through 3 1/3.
Yeah, perfect pitch there. Paints the top part of the zone. Nothing Brooks Bryant can do with that. It's a big benefit to have a big catcher behind the plate like Brody Donay. Can really do a nice job of framing the upper part of the zone, and that time does so perfectly to get the first out in the bottom of the 4th.
Now it's Nathan Hall. Hall today 1 for 1. He's now up in the count 1-0. Came around a score on the RBI double by Charles Davalon. That evened the score at 1 after Brewster took a lead just 3 batters into the ball game after Ryder Helfrich hit his 6th home run with 2 outs in the first. The count is even at 1-1 here. Nathan Hall played this past season at Clemson. High chopping ground ball to the first baseman Binderup, who takes it to the bag for the second out. So Urey settling in, retiring the last 5 hitters after giving up the RBI double to Davalon.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it was this part of the lineup to get things going the last time around, but for Urey to continue to settle things down, now just 1 out away from completing his 4th inning of work, it'd be great to save that Brewster bullpen for Jamie Shevchik.
Still is a reliever warming up for the Whitecaps. First pitch to Compton, taken for ball 1. He grounded out in his first at-bat. That Kettleers rally all with 2 outs as Luke Hansen, who stands in the on-deck circle, he worked a walk, and Davalon, of course, the double. The 2-0 on the way to Compton. Looked at for strike 1. That evens or makes the count 2-1 here. Compton's been hitting the ball well in the last few games. Average just around 350 over the last 10 as a hard line drive just right to the shortstop Drew Farrow. So Ryan Urey has retired the last 7 batters he's faced as it's another 1-2-3 inning here in the bottom of the 4th. Now we'll send it down to Adele Huffman, who's back on field level.
Was Scott Hill, who plays a huge part in what happens here every day at Lowell Park. Scott Hill, you're a part of the Cotuit Athletic Association. Can you tell us a little bit about that association and what they do?
The CAA is the nonprofit that puts on all of this for everybody every year. We're a 15-member board with other voting members, and then a lot of volunteers. So.
And Scott, what does it take to put on just one game like we're seeing today?
Basically, next year's already been started. It takes 9 months to put on a 3-month season, but everybody's very busy, and we do clinics and the baseball team, interns, and everything else in between. So.
Well, thank you for everything you do, Scott. You're awesome.
Thank you so much.
Back to you, Joe and Alex.
Thanks so much, Adele. Excellent work once again. And Scott Hill, just a really key piece in putting everything together here at Lowell Park. Just really does an excellent job.
Yeah, he does. Scott does it all around here, of course, managing how everybody is able to enjoy the baseball games here, setting up all the game day operations, and, of course, being the host dad to Devin Taylor as well, who unfortunately isn't in the lineup tonight, but we know that those two and, of course, Trish, his wife, have a great relationship as well. So it's been great to see Scott around the ballpark again this summer. He always does a great job.
Absolutely. As now it's the 7, 8, and 9 hitters due up for Brewster here in the top of the 5th. Score remains 1-1. 4 hits between these two teams, 2 aside. As it's Drew Farrow who made a Nice catch on a hard line job by Brandon Compton, and last inning, he leads off for the Whitecaps. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out to Timo Becerra at short. Dallas Macias, he's also 0 for 1. He stands in the on-deck circle. First pitch from Cade Fisher. Laid off for ball 1. Fisher came in relief of James Ellwanger, who went 3 2/3. Struck out 4 as a big cut on and miss by Farrow. Allowed the walk to Rogers and then got Brody Donay to fly out to Charles Davlon in center field. Pitch in there for strike as Fisher gets ahead now 1-2. The 1-2 to Farrow. High looping breaking ball. Got him looking. First strikeout of the day for Cade Fisher, as Drew Farrow set down for the first out here in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, perfect start there for Cade Fisher, who entered this game with a 2-0 count on J.D. Rogers. Difficult to work your way back into a count like that as a reliever. Quickly calming things down with the fly out on Brody Donay, but now seemingly hitting his stride in this 5th inning.
Big cut on and miss by Dallas Macias. So he falls behind in the count, 0 for 1. Fisher named to the 2023 All-SEC freshman team at Florida as Macias waves through another curveball. So he's down in the count 0-2. But Fisher, 27 appearances, had a 6-0 record as a true freshman, 2 saves, and a 3.10 ERA. The 0-2 pitch, off speed, well outside.
So they have their different looks. We kind of have a lineup for Brewster, who has a good mix of switch hitter, righty-lefty. Of course, this being one of the lefties, but Cade Fisher from the other side as James Ellwanger, and a bit of a different guy up there who's not going to blow you away with the fastball the way Ellwanger would, but great off-speed Fisher has, and we're seeing it a lot here early on in his second outing.
The 2-2. Fouled right back to Blake Binder up in the on-deck circle.
But two guys who have a lot of arm side run on their pitches, so it's really a different look up there. Facing these fastballs that cut into you as a lefty, of course that one being a breaking ball, so going far away, but to have all these pitches with at least a little bit of movement, including the fastball, is key for a lot of these pitchers' success nowadays in terms of throwing the ball hard, but also having some two-seam cut sinker movement on those fastballs. Multifaceted approach.
The payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Cade Fisher. Has 2 quick outs here in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, that one just ties up the bat of Dallas Macias, low and inside, and he goes back to it after pitching low and away, trying to get him there. It didn't work, went to low and inside, and gets Macias to swing and miss. So he's able to do it against right-handed batters, and now a left-hand bat.
7-pitch at-bat ends in a strikeout. As Blake Bender up, he's 0 for 1 today, also struck out. 6 strikeouts for Cotuit pitching staff so far. So the 1-0 pitch inside goes off the glove of Bryan. So 2-0 is the count to the Brewster first baseman. The 2-0 from Fisher. Taken outside as Bender up in the count 3-0. Playing in his 5th game this summer, he's 2 for 10. Does have an RBI. As the 3-0 looked at for strike 1, so Fisher gets back in the count. It's 3-1. "21 pitches, 11 strikes for Cade Fisher. 2 quick outs here in the top of the 5th. As Bender up, line drive, that gets down, so it's a 2-out single for Blake Bender up, and Brewster's done a good job hitting with 2 outs.
Yeah, they have, and Cade Fisher pitching with 2 outs. That's the 3rd base runner he's allowed so far this season. All of them have been with 2 outs, so struggling to get that 3rd out of the inning, and now it'll be the top of the order, Nick Dumanil, with a chance, just as Cotuit did in that 2nd inning, Alex, with 2 outs in the inning to try to get the offense going. Of course, still a 1-1 tie here at Lowell Park, and pitcher's duel today that is likely turning into a combined effort for both of these bullpens.
Swing at the first pitch is Duminal. High towering pop-up that finds foul territory in between Tanner Thatch, the first baseman, and the right fielder Nathan Hall. Duminal, he's 1 for 2. Also has stolen a base, his 14th. A lot of speed. As Bender up takes a lead off first, holding him on is the first baseman Thatch as the 0-1 to Duminal. Big swing on and miss as he's down in the count 0-2. Duminal, one of the vocal leaders on this Brewster squad, as the 0-2 pitch. High foul ball down the first base line. Cade Fisher doing a good job throwing strikes here. 25 pitches, 15 strikes. He's come out of the bullpen and gotten 3 outs so far. The 0-2. Another foul ball as the Whitecaps lineup doing a good job seeing pitches off the Kettler lefty.
Yeah, really making Fisher work here. Trying to get that final strike of the 5th inning. Duminal, a tough battle at the plate as always.
Skies continue to darken here at Lowell Park. That pitch gets away from Bryan. Moving up to second is Bender up. So the count is 1-2, as now Bender up stands in scoring position.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do with 2 strikes and 2 outs in the inning. You first of all give up that 2-out base runner, but now he's in scoring position with one of the best hitters in this Brewster lineup at the plate with a chance to take a 2-1 lead.
Still a hot day here in Cotuit, but the sky's starting to get dark here as Fisher pitched low in the dirt, kept in front by Bryan. So Bender up still leads off second. Cotuit and Brewster tied up at 1 here in the top of the 5th. Brewster with 3 hits, 1 run. Cotuit 2 hits and 1 run. The 7th pitch of the at-bat on the way. Hard line drive, foul down the right field line. Eight pitches here, seen by Nick Duminal. That's exactly what you want to do at the top of this Brewster order. Fisher, long look in, now checks back at the runner, comes home with the 2-2 pitch. Low in the dirt, gets away from Bryan. Staying put is Bender up on second as the count runs full here with 2 outs.
Yeah, has worked it all the way back up to full, was down in the count 0-2. Duminal putting together a really solid battle here. Cade Fisher now up over 30 pitches in his second outing of the summer, 17 of which have found the zone.
4 straight strikes to begin the at-bat. And a pair of balls, another foul ball, and just laid off on the 8th pitch. So pitch number 9 upcoming here for Cade Fisher against Nick Duminal. Kicks and deals the payoff pitch. Foul tip straight back.
Yeah, he just barely gets a piece. Duminal doing anything he can to foul that pitch away. It was another nice breaking ball from Cade Fisher. One that would have been perfectly placed and nearly just underneath the bat of Duminal, but more of that right here would do well and be tough to replicate that pitch twice.
Duminal hits this one through into center field. Rounding third is Bender up. The throw from Davalon. Well up the line, taking second is Nick Duminal. So a long at-bat against Cade Fisher goes the way of Nick Duminal. As the Whitecaps regain the lead, they're up 2-1.
Well, it's no wonder why this guy has now retaken the team lead for hits with 20 on the season. Just a great battler at the plate. That one, a long battle with Cade Fisher, who extended this inning by giving up the single, and then the ball that got away from Brooks Bryan. Those are the little plays in these close games that are just amplified when you look at it at the end of it. So for Cotuit to put in a good inning offensively in response to this will be really important, but for Brewster just to claw away and work these counts to scratch home just one run in this inning is massive for the Whitecaps.
Back-to-back two-out hits for Brewster. Now it's Caden Kent. He's 0 for 2 with a ground out to James Ellwanger in his first at-bat and struck out to end the third. As Dumino leads off second. The second pitch of the at-bat taken for ball 1. As Cotuit's done a good job of getting the 2 outs, but it's capitalizing in 2 outs that has favored the Whitecaps. As ground ball down the first base line, foul. Both of their runs coming with 2 outs. The RBI single from Dumino. And the home run by Ryder Helfrich back in the first. Lefty-lefty matchup here. Fisher looks back at Dumino. He's taking off for third. That pitch well outside. Bryan with a good stab, keeping it in front. As Dumino records his second stolen base of the day, he is now up to 15 on the summer. So Nick Dumino leads off third. 2-2 count here against the lefty Kent. Fisher deals. This one hit into left field. Coming in is Brandon Compton, who makes the grab for the third out of the inning, but not before Brewster regains the lead after the RBI single from Nick Dumino. They have a 2-1 lead heading into the bottom of the fifth, and when we come back from this commercial break, my broadcast partner Joe Pratt will take you the rest of the way. Stay tuned for more here on the Cats Digital Network.
Each week, the Cape Cod Baseball League is honoring those who served with Red Shirt Fridays. Every home team on Fridays wear red Cape League uniforms and an Army camouflaged hat. For every Friday game at Lowell Park, the Kettleers are honoring a hero of the game presented by the Massachusetts State Lottery. For exclusive Red Shirt Friday gear like fitted player hats, head to the Kettleers store at the ballpark. We hope you can join us for a Red Shirt Friday at Lowell Park this season.
With 30-plus years of personal injury litigation and insurance negotiation experience, Snow Law Firm is your go-to for wrongful injuries and rightful compensation. Snow Law Firm will secure the maximum amount of compensation available through settlement or trial. Schedule a free case evaluation by calling 508-477-7100.
For over 40 years, Vollmer & Son Construction has proudly served its community, providing a wide range of construction services, from bathroom renovations to complete home remodels. When you work with Vollmer & Son, you are being taken care of by natives of Cape Cod who support the community by using local suppliers and subcontractors. Vollmer & Son Construction, a proud sponsor of the Cotuit Kettleers.
Back from Lowell Park for the bottom of the fifth inning, Joe Pratt, Alex Rocco are with you here on the Kettleers Digital Network for the 20th game of this season, as the Kettleers fashioning a 12-7 record, going up against the Brewster Whitecaps, who are 8-11-0, sitting at the fourth place spot in the East Division, 1 game behind the Harwich Mariners, 2 games behind the Chatham Anglers. Cotuit hanging just a game and a half behind the Wareham Gatemen, who are 13-5-1. But one man making his first Kettleers start of this 24 campaign in Game 20. It's Luke Hansen. So far today, reached on a walk. And he fouls one straight back. So the new pitcher in the game for the Whitecaps, it'll be Luke Guth out of Vanderbilt, coming off of a season there where he went for a 5.40 ERA and 12 relief appearances. Just over 18 innings pitched, he allowed 11 runs. So throwing to Luke Hansen for the first time. He'll be the first one to face the right-hander. And that is the day for Ryan Ure, as that one is lifted through the left side of the infield and into left field for a base hit. Luke Hansen gets his first as a Kettleer.
Luke Hansen winning the Battle of Lukes as he just lines that into left field and really starting to swing a hot bat, work deep into the count with that walk, and does a good job of putting a ball in play as the Kettleers getting a leadoff man on for the first time so far this evening.
Yeah, let's see if this 7, 8, and 9 can kickstart something for the Kettleers in this bottom of the 5th. It'll be Charles Davallon, an RBI double already today, and Luke Hansen will move up into scoring position. So that one getting away from the tall frame of Brody Donay behind the dish, and the Kettleers will put a runner in scoring position, so it's just as if Luke Hansen rattled off a double. He's standing on second with nobody gone. That one evading the glove of 6'6" Brody Donay behind the dish. So Guth coming set, a 1-0 count to Davallon. And now in the driver's seat at 2-0. So Charles Davallon gets back into the lineup today, batting in the 8th spot. Saw him 2 nights ago in Hyannis, was a defensive substitution after Kian Vu was replaced in that ball game. And he was able to roll over a ball to second base, was Davallon, but it did bring home a run. And that was good for his 4th RBI of the season. Now he takes a strike one here, and it's 2-1 here against Luke Guth. Davallon ropes that one to first, snared by Binderup, his throw to second, and they double him up. So a 5-6 double play for the Whitecaps. Puts 2 outs on the board here in this bottom of the 5th inning. Boy, it really looked like the Kettleers had something going, but more great field play by the Whitecaps.
That ball was cracked off the bat of Davallon. Excellent play by the first baseman Binderup and a snap throw in plenty of time to get Hansen, who just got too far off the second base bag.
Now Jaron Advincula takes a breaking ball for a strike one. We talk about momentum so much, Alex, and that a momentum stopping play for the Kettleers. Putting their leadoff man in scoring position, but he gets nabbed, and there are quickly 2 outs in this 5th. Now Advincula gets underneath this one, flies it towards Macias in medium depth left, and he pulls down the 3rd out. So the Kettleers putting their leadoff man on. He does get nabbed on a double play at second, so 3 up, 3 down they go in the bottom of the 5th. Still trailing 2-1 on the Kettleers digital network.
Willow Bend has been regarded as one of Cape Cod's and New England's premier private clubs and communities for over 25 years. Willow Bend is a family-friendly community right here in Cotuit. They strive for a fun and relaxed lifestyle with good times and good friends. Discover all that and more at Willow Bend.
Looking to connect with the right business? Zoom Info's got you covered. With a database of over 100 million company profiles, they provide top-notch data to boost sales and marketing growth. Since 2007, Zoom Info's B2B data quality has ensured that businesses have the best intelligence right at your fingertips. Discover more at zoominfo.com and see how you can get connected today.
Back for the top of the 6th inning. Kettleers trail by 1, 2-1. Cade Fisher will return to the mound, has thrown over 30 pitches in this game so far. Entering the ball game with 2 gone in the 4th inning and then pitching in that 5th frame. Struck out the first 2 batters he faced, then allowed a single to Blake Binderup and Nick Duminil, the 9 and 1 men in this lineup today for the Whitecaps, to bring home the 2nd run of the ball game for them. So they lead it 2-1 as we go into the top of the 6th. We played 5 from Lowell Park halfway through this ball game, and it'll be 3, 4, and 5 to hit against the lefty in this 6th frame. Ryder Helfrich entering this ball game, hitting .277 on the season with 5 homers. 1 for 2 so far today. Hit that 6th home run back in the first inning, traveled 409 feet, was 98 miles an hour off the bat into left center. So the first one he sees from Cade Fisher misses away, and Helfrich is in control. Also entering this game with the 10th most steals in the CCBL. Has snagged 6 bags, and that's something that the Whitecaps do incredibly well, as we talked about going into this ball game. They have 3 guys who are in the top 10 in the league in stolen bases. Helfrich obviously one of them, and now the 1-0 pitch. Sends a spinner towards Tanner Thatch, who will take it to the bag himself and make that play unassisted for out number 1 in the 6th.
That's a good job for Cade Fisher after struggling last inning, giving up the 2-2-out base knocks, come back, get the first guy out. But that's something that we've seen bite the Kettleers pitching staff with 2 outs, but Mike Roberts making the slow track out to the mound.
So Cade Fisher gets the first out in this 6th inning. Causes Ryder Helfrich to ground out on a ball towards first base. So his day will be done. Pitches just over an inning and a half. And a new arm into the game for the Kettleers will be entering. It's a lefty, and we'll tell you who it is when we return here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
So the bullpen is brought to you by longtime Cotuit residents and John Callahan, Kenton Grover Company. With over 4 decades of experience, commercial lending and real estate, has John the go-to choice for all things real estate at Cotuit and surrounding towns. Visit them at 681 Falmouth Road in Mashpee. That's the Callahan and Kenton Grover Company, proud sponsors and longtime fans of the Kettleers. Now pitching for Cotuit, number 27, Andrew Benke from Tennessee. Benke, 27, now pitching for the Kettleers.
The new pitcher into the game for the Kettleers, also making his first appearance in the pinstripes so far in this 24 season. It'll be Andrew Benke out of the University of Tennessee, of course winning a national title with the Volunteers this past season, and he will be making his first appearance on the bump for the Kettleers this summer. So Alex, we get our first looks on Andrew Benke, a newly minted national champion for the Tennessee Volunteers. Appeared in 23 games, all in relief for Tennessee this past season. Allowed 11 earned runs and 28 innings pitched. That was good for a 3.54 ERA. So he'll be facing Daniel Cuvet, who's 0 for 2. First pitch strike down the heart of the plate.
Big strikeout numbers for Benke this past year at Tennessee. 28 innings, 39 strikeouts.
Misses everything there, and it's 1-1 on Cuvet. He received a small sample size as a freshman, 5 2/3 innings in 6 games in 2023, but taking advantage of each of his 23 appearances this past season. Now the 2-1. Cuvet powers this one deep left center field. Davallon will watch it fly into the trees. A big fly for Daniel Cuvet. And the Whitecaps take a 3-1 lead.
That ball was just left right down the middle by Benke, and Daniel Cuvet made no mistake. The second home run on the day for Brewster's pitching staff, and the third for Cuvet this summer.
That got out in a hurry. Did that 24 times this past season at Miami, did Cuvet. And now another one here halfway through the summer. So a 3-1 lead for Brewster, and a 1-0 count here to J.D. Rogers. Has reached in the fourth on a walk, also grounded out. Now he lays down the bunt. Up with it is Benke, and his flip to Thatch is good for out number 2.
Daniel Cuvet's home run, according to TrackMan, 454 feet and 105 miles an hour off the bat.
Wow. And we saw one here last week that went 437. Had to be one of the furthest home runs that definitely we've seen all season. Been working here for a couple years now myself, and that's probably the longest we have ever seen in the last 2 years. And it was shattered right there by Daniel Cuvet. And it's more home runs that are getting to the Kettleers in their second time out against the Whitecaps. They really like powering balls out of this ballpark. As the 2-0 pitch misses inside, Nick Dumanel hitting a 2-run blast the last time these two teams played. It was a game where the Whitecaps hit 3 home runs. Andrew Fisher, of course, was on the roster then and hit 2 of them. But of course, Brewster, going into this game, we knew they were a powerful lineup. Second in the league in slugging percentage at .385, as this one's lifted into straightaway center. Back is Davallon, and he pulls down the third out. That one, the 20th home run of the season for the Whitecaps. It puts them ahead 3-1 as we send things to the home half of the 6th here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Beacon Gardens is a full-service garden center right here in Mashpee. They sell a variety of landscaping materials and seasonal produce to both consumers and landscaping professionals around the Barnstable Village. Stop by and see all Beacon Gardens has to offer at 182 West Barnstable Road in Austerville. Beacon Gardens.
Bortolotti Construction is your go-to provider for all excavation, drainage, and waterworks services. On top of that, they offer landscape filling materials such as sand, native stone, gravel, shells, and more. Serving Cape Cod and the islands for 30 years, Bortolotti Construction is committed to serving its community. Visit at 45 Industry Road in Marston's Mills or call 508-771-9399.
both big and small, ready to go. United Rentals, your partners for a safe, productive, and sustainable work site. Visit them at their Bocasset location at United Rentals, proud sponsors of the Kettleers. Top of the order for the Kettleers and pinch hitting is number 20, Devin Taylor.
Bottom of the sixth inning, Kettleers now down 3-1, and Devin Taylor will be a pinch hitter in this ball game as the number 1 man in the lineup to hit for Grant Jay. So the Kettleers will lead off this bottom of the sixth inning, 1-2-3, starting off with Devin Taylor. So Grant Jay's day is done. He goes 0 for 2. Devin Taylor with his third appearance since returning from the Team USA Collegiate National Program. He'll be facing Luke Guth, who throws, and Taylor takes a breaking ball for a called strike 1. But it took Devin Taylor until his last at-bat in Hyannis to really make a difference since returning, as now he's down in the count 0-2. Ripped an RBI single in that 10th inning. Was able to start off the top of the 9th inning and really get the Kettleers rally going by reaching on an error. Of course, the Kettleers getting a base runner in any way that they could, and Taylor reaching on an error, followed by a Brandon Compton pinch hit walk. After that, a swinging bunt ground out by Max Ballou, and then eventually both runs coming in to score on another ground out by Charles Davalon, who was pinch hitting. That scored Devin Taylor, who then knocked an RBI single to score the 6th run of the ball game in the top of the 10th. So it was a collaborative effort by the Kettleers as Devin Taylor goes down on strikes here as the pinch hit attempt starts off with a first out in the 6th inning. But for Devin Taylor, he was a key part in that rally. The Kettleers really emptying the bench in that game against Hyannis, using all 4 of the catchers that they had on the roster. Pulling out that 2nd win on the season over the Harbor Hawks. They'll be back at Hyannis on Thursday night. So now here's Tanner Thatch with 1 gone in the 6th. Takes a big cut at that one, and it barely ticks off the end of his bat. So, of course, we mentioned Thatch's strong play against right-handed throwers. Just 2 hits going into this game on lefties, the rest against righties. 15 driven in, all 6 of his homers coming off right-handed pitching. Now he takes a strike 2 low and outside and down in the count 0-2 as Luke Guth starting off both of these batters in this 6th inning with strikes. Now the 0-2, Guth. Thatch hammers this one deep left center field. Going back on it, Dumanil running out of some space, looking up, it's over his head. Off the top of the wall. Thatch is charging into second. He'll be in there standing up with a 1-out double. Boy, Thatch just continues his strong play. Going into this ball game, 6 of his last 9 at the plate. With that base knock, now 7 of his last 12.
And Tanner Thatch has done everything as of late for this Kettleer team, making excellent stops in the field. And then, of course, when he can drive the ball just like he did there, just an unstoppable force right now in the heart of this Kettleer lineup.
He reaches for an 8th straight game in a row. Timo Becerra turns away from the breaking ball and takes. He's 0 for 2. Fly out and a pop out on the infield. Top third of this lineup being shut down by Brewster pitching so far today. It was Ryan Urey to get the start. Now Luke Guth making an appearance. The 1-0 pitch to Becerra. He checks his swing and did go around. Guth's 1-1. Becerra nearly hit him. Elevates the count to 2-1. Becerra 3 for 15 as a starter going into this game. As mentioned, has been a defensive substitution at times, a pinch hitter. Mainly a defensive sub on Sunday night against Hyannis, where he made a couple of key plays on the infield, mainly a line drive to end the bottom of the 9th inning as he flares that one straight back, and it's 2-2. But Becerra, as a starter for the Kettleers, started out 2 for 2 in that game at Bourne, a single and a double. Since then, as a starter, is 1 for 15. Now the 2-2. Becerra pops this one up. Into foul territory goes Binderup along with the pitcher, but that will hit off the netting above the Brewster dugout. And Becerra stays alive at 2-2.
And all 3 hits that Becerra has this summer have come against Bourne, so they've really struggled, or he's really struggled outside of facing the Braves pitching staff.
Yeah, has hit the Bourne Braves really well, which 5 games out of the 40 is definitely what you want him to do. Kettleers will play the Braves next week. Now the 2-2 once more. We'll have to wait. One gone in this inning. Timo Becerra for his 3rd plate appearance. Luke Guth works into his 2nd inning of work as the pitch is fouled straight back. Guth so far 1 appearance on the season, allowed 3 hits in an inning and a third. 5 runs, 4 of which were earned. A pair of walks and the Kettleers threatening with a man in scoring position. Still a 2-2 count here to Timo Becerra. Working a battle here against Guth. Pitch is upstairs. And called a ball. Interesting, Done looking for a call on the check swing. Didn't even look like Becerra budged. Of course, no umpire up the first base line would be tough to tell. That one being manned by John Budka. Jonathan Lamatina on the 3rd base side. Now the 3-2. Becerra watches it all the way in and takes ball 4. Great battle there worked by Becerra.
An excellent job by Timo Becerra. Saw 8 pitches there, fouled off 3 really tough pitches from Luke Guth. And this is what you need to do now, trailing by 2 runs. Put guys on base, and you have Thatch and Becerra up with just 1 out, and now Brooks Bryan is up in a good spot.
So now it's Brooks Bryan. He's 0 for 2. And a nice block there by Brody Done to keep it in front. Brooks Bryan, his counterpart, batting from the left side. Ground out to second his last time up. A strikeout looking on one that was dotted at the top of the zone. Ryan Urey's outing ending with that pitch, or in that inning. Brooks Bryan was the leadoff man, but it was 3 up, 3 down, part of 7 batters that Urey retired in a row to end off his outing. And a good one at that, as we talked about earlier on in the broadcast, that he struggled with throwing strikes a lot of the time. Just 1 walk today for Urey. Luke Guth took over for him, and now a mound visit with his catcher and coach.
Guth has been falling behind as of late. Fell behind Bryan here. Count is 2-0. Of course, the walk to Becerra and that hard double hit by Tanner Thatch, as Luke Guth did a good job coming on. Of course, the leadoff gave up the leadoff single to Luke Hansen, but the hard double play ball hit by Charles Davlon, then the fly out by Jaron Advincula, but now finds himself in a tough spot here. 2 runners on base, and Brooks Bryan up in a dangerous count.
Yeah, long mound visit there, as Joseph Giasio, the home plate umpire, will have to go out there and dismiss it. And Brooks Bryan remains up there with a hitter's count, 2-0. So 1 out in this inning. Runners are on first and second. How important is this AB for Bryan?
It's a massive at-bat for Bryan. He struggled since coming back from Team USA here, and the Kettleers' offense has struggled so far really in this game. Now just 4 hits, but anytime you have a runner in scoring position, you need to do a good job and get at least 1 run.
Bryan takes inside, and it's 3-0. So now an opportunity here for the Kettleers to load up the bases. Luke Guth, see what he dials up at 3-0. Right down the middle with the fastball, and it's 3-1. Bryan gets a hold of that one and shoots it down the right field line, but foul. So the count will work full. A couple of great battles here by the Kettleers, first being Timo Becerra and now Brooks Bryan. This will be the 30th pitch thrown by Luke Guth, dealing with runners on first and second, a full count. Here comes. Bryan takes downstairs, and the Kettleers will load him up here in the 6th.
An excellent at-bat work there by Brooks Bryan. Found himself up in the count 3-0, then Guth doing a good job battling back, but Bryan just staying alive and working the walk here. And now get a pinch hitter here for Nathan Hall.
Nathan Hall went 1 for 2, scored a run on Charles Davalon's RBI double, the only run of this ball game for the Kettleers. But Max Ballou will grab a bat and hit for him, trying to score the potential second and third runs of this game for the Kettleers, down 3-1. So a big moment for Max Ballou in a pinch hitting spot. First pitch is taken for a strike on the outer half, so a new bat there for Max Ballou at the plate, all yellow. Pine tar on the handle just above his hands. An interesting look for Ballou, who's out of Texas. And the 0-1. Gets underneath it, flares it towards left field. Towards the corner goes Macias. He settles underneath it. Tanner Thatch will take off from third. And the sacrifice fly play will work out here for the Kettleers to score their second run of the ball game.
That's a good job by Ballou, not trying to do too much. Got a pitch on the outside part of the plate and just hit it into deep enough left field, allowing Tanner Thatch to easily come in and score.
So the Kettleers getting one run back on the Whitecaps, now 3-2. Brandon Compton, who is 0 for 2 with runners on first and second, now will dig in. There are 2 outs in the inning. Scoreboard still saying 1. There you go, some help from the home plate umpire, Joseph Giasio. So Compton, a big moment here with 2 gone. The pitch is down the heart of the plate. It'll even up at 1-1. So Brandon Compton, a chance to do exactly what the Whitecaps have done so well of in this game so far. Try to drive in a run with 2 outs in the frame. All of the Whitecaps runs coming home with 2 outs in innings through 6 innings so far. And now the 1-1 pitch to Compton. Just out of his reach, and he is behind 1-2. So 1 strike away from escaping this 6th inning is Luke Guth. 3 straight base runners for the Kettleers after the leadoff strikeout. A double, 2 walks, and then the sacrifice fly. Compton looks at a called strike 3 to end the bottom of the 6th inning. So the Kettleers will put 3 different base runners on, bring 1 home to score on Max Ballou's pinch hit RBI sacrifice fly. So they leave 2 stranded on first and second. Brandon Compton records the 3rd out. And now before the 7th inning, we'll check in with our sideline reporter Adele Huffman, who's celebrating a very special birthday today. Adele?
Foul ball out of the air just a couple innings ago. Peyton, what made you decide to come out to tonight's game?
I just wanted to hang out with my friend.
And this is your first game, correct?
It sure is.
And so what did it feel like to catch that foul ball in front of so many Cotuit fans?
It hurt.
It hurt. That was your initial reaction?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite part about a Cotuit game now that you've attended most of one?
Catching the ball.
Catching the ball. Well, thanks, Peyton, and we hope to see you at another game. Back to you, Joe and Alex.
back for the top of the 7th inning. Thank you so much, Adele. Join with one of the lucky fans who came down with a great foul ball play just at the base of the home grandstand. We saw it earlier today. What a great play by him, Alex.
Excellent catch there on the fly ball, and that's what it's like coming out to the ballpark. Said it was his first Kettleer game, and now is a memory he'll take with him for a while.
Yeah, 1 for 1.
It's a good start.
Remember 2 years ago talking to one of the dedicated fans around here for the Kettleers, said he tries to get a baseball at every single game that he goes to. I mean, that's got to be a tough feat.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten too many at baseball games, especially now as a broadcaster. Adele almost had one a couple of games
She did.
ago.
Oh, it was so close, too. Fell right in front of her. She was on the phone, I think. She couldn't catch the ball, but of course, Adele celebrating her 22nd birthday today, so happy birthday to Adele. Couple of birthdays around the ballpark and coming up. Tyler Cerny will have his 21st in just a couple days, I believe on July 13th. Gabriel Nard also celebrating his birthday today. Now the first pitch from Andrew Benke. Misses up and away to Drew Farreau. And can't forget the final birthday, Becky Manicus. 1-0 pitch is hammered down the left field line off the bat of Farreau, but it twists foul. Farreau is 0 for 2. He struck out and grounded out. Kettleers getting one back in that bottom of the 6th inning. Off the RBI sacrifice fly from Max Ballou, who remains in the game to play right field. Now Benke ahead in the count 1-2 on Drew Farreau, the switch hitter batting from the right side. The payoff pitch misses high and wide, so Benke really struggling with a few of those that are left up in the left-hand batter's box for him, just flaring it away and sends this count to 2-2 once more. And that's a pitch that we saw from James Ellwanger earlier today. He misses way outside again. So difficult for the lefty trying to tuck his pitches closer into the right-handed swinging Farreau. Farreau goes after a high fastball and comes up empty, his second strikeout of the day, the first one for Andrew Benke, and there's one gone in the 7th.
That was a nice job by Benke after getting up in the count against Farreau. 1-2, fell behind, tossed back-to-back balls, but just elevating there against Farreau, who has his second strikeout today.
So with one gone, here's Dallas Macias. Also 0 for 2 with a ground out to short and a strikeout. So Andrew Benke works into his first full inning of work, gave up a solo home run to Daniel Cuvet, then 2 quick outs on J.D. Rogers and Brody Donay. As this one's popped up just outside of the infield, Compton giving chase, and he'll call off Becerra to make the second out.
Compton had to run a long way for that ball in left field, coming in, getting underneath it, and that's what you want to see from Andrew Benke after giving up the long home run to Daniel Cuvet. He's retired the last 4 hitters he's faced.
So 7, 8, and 9 in this 7th inning for the Whitecaps. Benke has gotten 7 and 8 for Farreau and Macias on the strikeout and the flyout, and now starts off Blake Binderup with a strike. He's 1 for 2, came around to score in the 5th inning on the RBI single from Nick Dumanil. Of course, all of the Brewster runs coming with 2 strikes, and now, 2 outs, and now there are 2 strikes on Binderup. So 0-2 the count with 2 strikes, a 3-2 ball game. The Whitecaps lead. Benke's 0-2. Fouled straight back and to the right, out of play. Binderup out of Texas A&M. These two playing against each other in the College Baseball World Series. Benke pitching in Game 1 on June 22nd, an inning and 2/3. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Blake Binderup goes after a low pitch and comes up empty for the second strikeout of the night for Andrew Benke. 3 up, 3 down go the Whitecaps in this top of the 7th, and it's stretch time here at Lowell Park. Kettleers down 1. Bortolotti Construction is your go-to provider for all excavation, drainage, and waterworks services. On top of that, they offer landscape filling materials such as sand, native stone, gravel, shells, and more. Serving Cape Cod and the islands for 30 years, Bortolotti Construction is committed to serving its community. Visit at 45 Industry Road in Marston's Mills or call 508-771-9399.
The Cape Cod League All-Star Game is just a few weeks away. Cheer on your favorite Kettleers as they square off with some of the best players on the Cape. This year's game will be played in Falmouth on July 27th. The gates open up at 1:30 p.m. ahead of the 6 o'clock first pitch. All-Star Game tickets can be found at www.capecodleague.com/all-star-game. Or you can find out more information about the tickets at the Kettleers store.
Cape Cod Coffee is a proud sponsor of the Cotuit Kettleers. They offer breakfast and lunch, as well as indoor and outdoor dining. Check out Cape Cod Coffee at one of their 3 locations, on Route 130, at Mashpee Commons, and at Wareham Commons, or on their website at capecodcoffee.com. Cape Cod Coffee is
Coastal Rentals is the place to go for professional landscape and construction equipment. Whether you need tools and equipment for commercial use or for your own projects, Coastal Rentals has what you need. Purchasing gear is also available. Check out Coastal Rentals today. Coastal Rentals.
The 7th inning stretch is over. What a great rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game by a young Kettleers fan. Of course, tonight being one of the camp nights here at Lowell Park. And boy, that was pretty awesome to see right now. And he got a big round of applause, too.
Just an excellent performance and always really cool to see. And definitely could provide a juice from the home fans after that performance.
Definitely. Luke Hansen's going to try to do just that. Takes the first pitch for a strike low and outside. Some resemblance there between the 7th inning stretch singer and Luke Hansen, both with long flowing blonde hair. What a coincidence. Skies darkening above Lowell Park as the 1-1 pitch nearly clipped the jersey of Hansen. But he spins away from it, and it's 2-1. So Hansen getting that first career Kettleers hit his last time up in the 5th inning, leading off that frame with a single. He was nabbed at second, though, on a line drive to first base. Hansen takes ball 3 upstairs. So now 1 for 2 with a walk, single, and a strikeout as a Kettleer. Coming off of a season at Virginia where he hit .286 with 42 hits. 15 of those went for extra bases, 7 homers. And now he fouls this one back. So another full count here faced by Luke Guth, who's back out for a 3rd inning of work. He's done solid after running into some trouble in that 6th inning, but worked his way out of it, stranding 2 runners on for the Cats. Now the 3-2 to Hansen. He takes down the heart of the plate for a called strike 3. Second of the night for Luke Guth, and Luke Hansen goes down on strikes for the first time today.
Hansen thought that pitch was ball 4. Started walking down the first base line, but got punched out in back-to-back looking strikeouts for Luke Guth.
Kettleers with 4 runners left on base today. 4 hits, too. Charles Davalon shows the bunt, but tugs it back. Trying to draw that infield off guard. Mike Roberts clearly willing to try anything here. Just 4 hits on the board, as just mentioned. It's one of those nights where the Kettleers are struggling to manufacture runs. But Davalon roping that one deep to right field, but it's way foul. If he's able to straighten it out, could be his 2nd of the summer. And going back to that deep fly by Tanner Thatch back in the 3rd inning, mentioned that that one could play a massive factor at the end of this ball game, and it clearly is holding up so far as that one's rolled on the ground towards second, and Kent relays to first for the second out.
Avalon has hit the ball well tonight. Came into that at-bat 1 for 2, of course, with that RBI double and a bullet line drive double play. But Guth doing a good job inducing weak contact here in the 3rd at-bat against Avalon.
So now it's Jaron Advincula. 0 for 2 so far today. Advincula still slashing a league best .424 batting average, and has still yet to commit an error at second base. It's making a difference both at the plate and in the field, and now takes a big cut at the 1-0 pitch. Back to 1-1, facing Luke Guth for the second time. He flew out to left field his last time up, and now the 1-1 pitch. Advincula ropes that one down the first base line, but foul. Advincula following in the footsteps of his brother, who was drafted in the 8th round by the Cleveland Guardians in 2023 out of Washington State. Currently playing high A ball for the Lake County Captains. Now he rolls that one foul, and still 1-2 is the count to Jaron. Advincula going on as a freshman this season at Cal to hit .325 and 54 starts, all at second. Now he rolls this one over to the first base side and foul once more. But it was a difficult start to the campaign for Jaron Advincula. Average dip below .240 through his first 10 games of college ball, and then responding with a 9-game hitting streak after that. 17 RBIs, 2 homers, bringing his batting average up to above .318, and it never dipped below that for the rest of the season. So kind of similar to the start to the summer that he had here. Wasn't mashing the way he has been in the last 12 games, but hit his stride. And he continues that here as he hammers it down the right field line, but deep into the trees, and it's still 2-2.
That's something that we've seen from Jaron Advincula this year, the ability to work deep in accounts, and this is just another example here against Guth, really running up his pitch count.
The 2-2, Advincula swats it away once more. Advincula, this is 19th game played this summer. Now he rolls it on the ground towards first. Taking it to the bag himself is Binderup, and Advincula is 0 for 3 on the day. So we've played 7 here at Lowell Park. Brewster leads it 3-2 as we go to the top of the 8th on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Since 1980, the O'Rourke family has been catering Cape Cod clam bakes, making your events delicious and memorable. Founded by Jake O'Rourke, Jake's Clam Bakes has become a beloved tradition, now carried on by his son, Dan. Choose from our menu options, and on the day of your clam bake, their crew will come to your site and steam a fresh, mouth-watering clam bake just for you. It's that easy. Call us at 833-252-6285 or visit our new takeout location at Building 6 on 3821 Route 28 in Marston's Mills. Email us at dan@jakesclambakes.com with your event details, number of guests, date, time, location, and any special requests like a raw bar, homemade desserts, or kids menu. Not catering? Try their takeout menu featuring lobster rolls, smash burgers, salads, sandwiches, and a smoothie bar.
The place to go for professional landscape and construction equipment. Whether you need tools and equipment for commercial use or for your own projects, Coastal Rentals has what you need. Purchasing gear is also available. Check out Coastal Rentals today. Coastal
So we welcome you back for the top of the 8th inning. Kettleers trailing 3-2. We welcome you back in to the Kettleers Digital Network for Game 20. Joe Pratt, Alex Rocco are with you. And it's another edition of Trivia here at Lowell Park, brought to you by the Cotuit Library. So the question today, an MLB catcher who was one of 5 former Kettleers to participate in the 2016 World Series. A native of Sao Paulo, Brazil, played for the Kettleers in 2007 and earned his championship ring playing with the Washington Nationals in 2019 when they took down the Houston Astros. So if you think you know the answer for Kettleers Trivia, brought to you by the Cotuit Library, let us know in the comments if you're listening on YouTube. And if you're listening somewhere else, can always log into the Kettleers YouTube, leave a comment, and try to get the question right. It was Lou Merloni last time. So back on the mound, Andrew Benke draws a big swing and miss there on the first batter he faces. It's Nick Dumanil, the leadoff man in this lineup, who's been one of the toughest outs today for the Whitecaps. He owns 2 of their 5 hits. An RBI single most recently in the 5th. The 0-1 pitch is fanned at and missed as the bottom hand comes loose. And now he's behind in the count 0-2. So good job for Andrew Benke to come into this game after allowing the home run, 5 up, 5 down, and done a nice job of getting ahead of these hitters. 0-2 once more. The pitch. Dumanil fans and misses at strike 3, the 3rd of the day for Andrew Benke.
Really nice job by Andrew Benke there. Got 2 strikeouts last inning, a strikeout of Drew Farreau and Blake Brinder up. This time making quick work against the leadoff man, Nick Dumanil.
So it'll be Caden Kent who's having a difficult day at the plate. He's 0 for 3. But going into this game, a .440 hitter through his first 6 games, was 11 for 25. That one ties him up and he fouls it straight back. Making his return to the Cape League this summer, but playing in 2023 with the Anglers of Chatham. Played in 42 of 44 games last summer in Chatham. Now he gets that one off the end of his bat, over the leaping Timo Becerra and into the alleyway in left center. Rounding first, headed for second is Kent. The throw there is not going to be in time as he slides in safely. So kind of a slow double into the left center field alleyway for Caden Kent, but it turns out to be his 12th hit of the summer, 3rd double.
Lefty-lefty matchup goes the way of Caden Kent, as not trying to do too much, flares that into the left center field gap, and nice hustle is now Brewster with a runner in scoring position and 1 out.
Now it's Ryder Helfrich. Homer in the first inning to open the scoring in this ball game. Since then, he's 0 for 2. So Benke remains in the game, gives up the 1-out double. There's nobody warming up in the Kettleers bullpen right now. That the 6th hit of the day for the Whitecaps. Helfrich, the righty. Here it comes. And he fans through that pitch from Benke. Starting out with another strike here, 0-1 on Helfrich. Entered this game leading the team in RBIs, 2nd in the league. And driven in 1 more, now up to 21 on the summer as the 0-1 pitch is tapped foul. But Helfrich with an excellent start to his campaign. Hit 179 in 31 games at Arkansas this past season, and that's just not a mark that he was okay with. As now the 0-2 pitch to him, he takes low and inside. Blocked by Bryan, his throw down to third. It goes up the line, past Luke Hansen and down the line towards Brandon Compton. And that will score the 4th run of the ball game for the Whitecaps.
Not the intended outcome if you're Brooks Bryan, who had that pitch just bounce away from him, got up throwing, is just his throw right into left field and easily allowing Caden Kent to come in and score. We got a great jump off of second.
So now with the bases empty, 0-2 the count with 1 gone to Helfrich. Benke's pitch. Helfrich hammers that one on the ground towards the left side, through the hole into left field for a base hit. Back-to-back base knocks for the Whitecaps in this 8th inning, and Ryder Helfrich improves to 2 for 4.
The top of this Brewster order. Really starting to do a good job. Now up to 7 hits as a team. 4 coming in that top 3.
Yeah, and 5 total in the top 4 in the lineup. One man who has it, Daniel Cuvet, who's set to have his second looks on Andrew Benke. So if you remember, he welcomed Benke to the Cape with a solo home run in the first batter he faced. After that, 5 up, 5 down, or 6 up, 6 down work by Benke into the start of this 8th inning. But now back-to-back singles, and the entire Kettleers infield will come in here with a mound meeting with Mike Roberts as one arm gets up and starts to warm up in the Kettleers bullpen. But boy, what another great day by Ryder Helfrich, who entering this game was hitting at a .277 clip. And he was someone, as mentioned, who was really not happy with the way his season went this past year at Arkansas. After their final elimination game, Ryder Helfrich told one of the writers for Brewster that he made his phone's lock screen a screenshot of his baseball reference page, showing that he hit 179 in the past season, showing that his subpar stats, and he used that as motivation. And even though he's went on to have great success so far on the Cape this summer, leading the team in RBIs in the top 5 in the league in RBIs, hasn't changed that screensaver, still keeping up with that motivation, and has another home run here today and is 2 for 4. He takes a short lead off first, and they'll check back at him there. Daniel Cuvet is the batter. He's 1 for 3, also with a home run. Solo shot back in the 6th, of course, the first batter faced by Benke. He was in relief of Cade Fisher to start off that frame. So now the pitch misses low and outside and blocked by Brooks Bryan, whose job has gotten pretty difficult in this ball game, having to deal with a lot of pitches that are thrown all over the place. First by James Ellwanger, the righty. Andrew Benke has struggled to find the box at times here. Daniel Cuvet, another Whitecap who swung a hot bat. In their game on Saturday night, went 2 for 5 with a RBI single. And now he pops this one up just outside of the infield, giving chase is Brooks Bryan, but that will float out of play. After the game, one of the assistant coaches for Brewster, Scott Grimes, said he's just a great hitter, can really hit the ball and has great work ethic day in and day out. He always handles his business well. And that was actually a Saturday night loss at Wareham. Cuvet went 3 for 5 in the game with an RBI double. And a chance with a runner on first here. 1-2 count to him. Pitch from Benke. Runner takes off. He fans and misses at strike 3. So down goes Daniel Cuvet on the 4th strikeout tonight for Andrew Benke. So with 2 gone, here comes J.D. Rogers.
Nice shot by Benke there to get a big off-speed pitch to get Cuvet to wave through that, as taking second was Ryder Helfrich. But nice shot by Benke. Really just made a couple of mistakes.
And now Mike Roberts is walking up to the Kettleers mound. The entire infield is there, and now Tanner Thatch will head to the dugout. Looks like he could make a pitching appearance here. So Tanner Thatch will head to the Kettleers dugout. We'll see if he takes a trip out to the bullpen in a few moments, but Tyler Cerny will enter the game, and he will play first base. So our first looks at Tyler Cerny at first, and Tanner Thatch will return to the mound to pitch here to make his second appearance against the Whitecaps.
We'll see what Thatch can do back out on the mound, like you mentioned, Joe. His second appearance against Brewster. Struggled a bit in that inning, but also curious to see how Tyler Cerny, who primarily plays shortstop, moves over and plays first.
So Cerny will have some warm-up throws with the rest of his infield, as will Tanner Thatch, who talks things over with Brooks Bryan right now, ahead of his second pitching appearance of this 2024 campaign. So we'll step aside for a quick moment here from Lowell Park. Kettleers trail at 4-2 with 2 gone in this 8th inning. Don't go anywhere. A quick warm-up for Tanner Thatch, and he is ready to go with 2 gone in the top of the 8th. His first pitch falls in on the breaking ball to J.D. Rogers, just outside for a ball 1. So as you mentioned, Alex, we've already seen him throw in a game so far this season. It was against these Brewster Whitecaps. And now this one rolled on the ground by J.D. Rogers, who is 0 for 2. Walked in the 4th inning. Couple of ground outs other than that. So we've seen Tanner Thatch have so big of an impact as a bat in the heart of this lineup. Getting a second appearance as a pitcher, going just 1 inning against the Whitecaps last time. Gave up 2 runs. Only one of them was earned, though. 3 hits, and then he followed up that pitching appearance by blasting a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. That made it a 10-7 game. Now Thatch with a 1-2 count here on Rogers. The pitch just misses outside. So Thatch showcasing some of his two-way abilities, which he has been able to in his couple years at UNC Wilmington, as that breaking ball misses upstairs, and it's a full count now to J.D. Rogers. Has 8 total appearances with the Seahawks, 8 2/3 innings pitched, allowed 5 earned runs. That's good for a 5.19 ERA, and has struck out 12 batters in that span. Now the 3-2. Fastball down the heart of the plate, called to strike 3. Tanner Thatch faces one batter in the top of the 8th inning, strikes him out on 6 pitches. The Kettleers still trailing 4-2 as we go to the home half of the 8th here on the Kettleers Digital Network. Be a part of historic Lowell Park and support the Cotuit Kettleers by purchasing a paver engraved with your personal message to be placed in the new Walk of Champions. For more information, visit the Cotuit Kettleers website. Be a part of
153 Commercial Street in Mashpee. RCA Electric and Generators is dedicated to helping homeowners and building contractors select, purchase, install, and maintain the ideal generator for their specific needs. Since being founded by Randy Agnew in 1990, this Barnstable-based family-run business has grown its reputation by serving all of Cape Cod, the South Shore, and the South Coast. Get in touch today by reaching out to RCA at 508-428-0449 or visit in person at 153 Commercial Street in Mashpee.
Each week, the Cape Cod Baseball League is honoring those who served with Red Shirt Fridays. Every home team on Fridays wear red Cape League uniforms and an Army camouflaged hat. For every Friday game at Lowell Park, the Kettleers are honoring a hero of the game presented by the Massachusetts State Lottery. For exclusive Red Shirt Friday gear like fitted player hats, head to the Kettleers store at the ballpark. We hope you can join us for a Red Shirt Friday at Lowell Park this season.
We will complete the 50-50 raffle next half inning. Off the bullpen brought to you by Beacon Gardens, Austinville's premier garden center. You'll find everything you need to beautify your home at Beacon Gardens.
Bottom of the 8th inning, the top of the lineup for the Kettleers will step up to the dish to face the new pitcher into the game for the Whitecaps. It's going to be the left-handed thrower Zach Johnston out of Wake Forest. He just finished up his 2nd season there. And he is in his first summer with the Brewster Whitecaps, and through 2 appearances so far has allowed 4 earned runs for a dangerous 18 earned run average. So Tyler Cerny will face him first. Takes low and outside. Cerny replacing the leadoff hitter, Grant J, was Devin Taylor last inning, and now Cerny hitting in his place. Blasts this one to deep right center field. Going back on it, the center fielder, Duminil, and he makes the grab, crashing into the fence in right center field. A ball that was blasted by Tyler Cerny, and his first home run of the summer will have to continue to wait.
Cerny gave that ball a ride, really cracked it off the bat, and that's something that he's really been starting to do better in these last few games. Hit balls harder, nearly hit his first home run a couple of games ago with a long double against Bourne, but always a good sign by Cerny, hitting the ball extremely hard.
So here's Tanner Thatch, hot off of his first strikeout of the summer as a pitcher. And now stepping into the box with one gone in the bottom of the 8th. They're still down 2, and now he rolls one over, and it's a 1-1 count here against Zach Johnston, who at Wake Forest this past season pitched just over 36 innings, allowed 16 earned runs, and struck out 46 batters. The tall lefty deals. Thatch backs up out of the way of it, and it's 2-1. Also hit 11 batters. An uncharacteristic mark for him that was notably high, 11 hit by pitches, and had just 1 in his first 2 years of collegiate baseball. That's across summer and D1 ball. And now he misses everything here, and it's 3-1 on Tanner Thatch. So a hitter's count here for Tanner Thatch, who could be a much-needed base runner for the Kettleers right now in the 8th. 3-1. Takes outside, and Thatch is headed to first. So since starting his day 0 for 2, Thatch has roped a double, scored a run, and now walked.
We've seen the patience of this Kettleer lineup. 4 walks so far, and that's a big, really big at-bat by Tanner Thatch there to reach now with 1 out in the inning and bring up Timo Becerra.
So here's Timo Becerra, has reached once today on a walk in the 6th. Other than that, he's 0 for 2. Righty takes down low for a ball 1. So Zach Johnston, originally out of North Yarmouth, Maine, slightly north of Portland, and played his summer ball last summer with the Sanford Mainers, as that one is looped just past Drew Farrow at shortstop and into left field for a base hit. So Timo Becerra with a base knock, and the Kettleers have back-to-back base runners in the bottom of the 8th.
This is a similar story to the last few games that we've seen for the Kettleers. The offense really struggling for large portions of the game here, but now they've gotten Tanner Thatch on with a 1-out walk, Timo Becerra with a hard line drive, and now this is a big spot for Brooks Bryan.
That's right, Brooks Bryan is 0 for 2 with a walk also today. And a top half of this Kettleers lineup that has been silenced other than Tanner Thatch's double. He stands on second, and the runners are on first and second as Brooks Bryan takes a strike 1. Johnston, out of high school, was named the Pitcher of the Year in Maine. The best left-handed pitcher out of Maine in 2022, rated by Perfect Game. Took his talents to Wake Forest, and now a slow roller just out of his reach. Kent charging in, throws on the run to nab Brooks Bryan at first, but not before both runners advance into scoring position.
Nice shot by Bryan just to get a ball in play and advance. The runners would have liked to seen him hit something harder, but still does his job, as now Thatch leads off third and Becerra off second.
So it's Max Ballou, who was a pinch hitter his last time up in the 6th inning, hit for Nathan Hall. He hit a sacrifice fly to score the second run of the ball game, and now a massive opportunity to tie up the game at 4s. Down 4-2, the pitch to Ballou. Ball 1. So a big moment for Max Ballou, who got the start in last night's game and went 0 for 3. Was pinch hit for later in the ball game. Now he goes after a pitch that was low and inside, and it's 1-1. Thatch takes his lead at third. Becerra on second. The 1-1 pitch from Johnston is popped up down the left field line, twisting out of play, and it creeps into the third row of seats. One young fan in a Red Sox jersey will go home with that baseball. As the overcast clouds continue to darken above Lowell Park here, 7:16 local time. And Zach Johnston trying to work his way out of this bottom of the 8th inning jam. The 1-2, and Ballou rolls it over towards second base. Kent charging up with it, and he can't make the play. He boots it. Tanner Thatch comes in and scores from third. Ballou advances to first, and a ball that eats up Caden Kent.
A high chopping ground ball by Max Ballou there as Caden Kent was charging in. Just had that ball eat him up, and you don't always have to hit it so hard all the time. Ballou, just a short dribbler that eats up Kent, is easily allowing Tanner Thatch to come in and score.
So now Jamie Shevchik is out of the Brewster dugout. We'll see if they elect to go to the bullpen today for the third time in this ball game. Looks like Shevchik will just be talking things over with his infield. And this is a big at-bat here for Brandon Compton, who was one of the hottest hitters in this Kettleers lineup, but since that game against Bourne on Saturday afternoon, the game that just went 5.5 innings, that was his last base hit. Of course, making a difference in the game against Hyannis the other night, reaching on a fielder's choice and also walking and coming around to score the game's tying run in the 9th inning. This is a big at-bat for Brandon Compton and an opportunity to knot up this ball game at fours. So if you're Brandon Compton, what should you really be looking for here against Johnston?
That's a good question, and had to think about it just for a moment, but Johnston's done a good job, Johnston's fell behind hitters here, so if I'm Brandon Compton, you have to be patient at the plate, look for a pitch that you can really drive, and this is such a critical moment for the Kettleers, not only in this game, but really in the early portion of this summer.
Seeing pitches is something that Compton's done well. Runners are on the corners. The pitch from Johnston misses low. And Compton will take the driver's seat here. 259 hitter going into this ball game. Tough day at the plate as he is 0 for 3. The 1-0. Slow tapper foul. Brandon Compton is second on this team in qualified players in slugging percentage at .414 out of his 15 hits. Several of them going for extra bases, has 3 homers, 12 RBIs on the season. Johnston comes set. Here it comes. And 2-1 the count to Compton. It's a great eye there at a really important moment.
Really nice take by Compton there as Johnston attacked the lefty on the outer portion of the plate, and Compton doing a good job laying off.
Compton swings and misses at a 2-1 breaking ball. Perfect pitch there from Johnston as it dips beneath his bat, and the count evens up at 2-2. Got to think he's going back to that here.
Compton was well out in front on that last pitch, tried blasting his 4th home run of the summer, but a really nice breaking ball from Johnston.
Ballou takes off from first, and Compton tips it into the glove of Brody Donay to go down on strikes to end the bottom of the 8th inning. So Zach Johnston allows 3 base runners, one of which comes home to score, but the would-be tying run gets left just 90 feet away. So the last chance for the Kettleers to come back in this ball game will happen after the top of the 9th inning. And if you think you have an answer for the Kettleers trivia brought to you by the Cotuit Library, go ahead and answer right now, as that answer will be revealed when we come back in the top of the 9th inning here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Since 1995, MK Pasic Plumbing and Heating has been your trusted commercial and residential plumbing contractor in Massachusetts. They specialize in new and rehabilitation work, gas and pipe fitting, climate control, heating, HVAC, oil burner work, boiler installation, radiant heat, forced hot water, air conditioning, and duct and sheet metal fabrication services. Founded and owned by Michael Pasic, a team of 9 skilled professionals is dedicated to providing top quality service. MK Basic Plumbing and Heating is registered with the Massachusetts Board of State Examiners of Plumbers and the Department of Public Safety. For all your plumbing and heating needs, contact MK Basic Plumbing and Heating at 508-420-3429 or at 60 Clamshell Point Lane in Cotuit. MK Basic Plumbing and Heating, proud sponsor of the Cotuit Kettleers.
Bortolotti Construction is your go-to provider for all excavation, drainage, and waterworks services. On top of that, they offer landscape filling materials such as sand, native stone, gravel, shells, and more. Serving Cape Cod and the islands for 30 years, Bortolotti Construction is committed to serving its community. Visit at 45 Industry Road in Marston's Mills or call 508-771-9399. Bortolotti Construction is your We've played 8 here from Lowell Park on the Kettleers Digital Network. Joe Pratt, Alex Rocco, Adele Huffman are with you. Jimmy Chanchulis and Cam Christie on the controls as always. We do have an answer for the Kettleers trivia today. The MLB catcher who is one of 5 former Kets to participate in the 16 World Series, the Sao Paulo native, played for the Kets in 07 and won the 2019 World Series with the Nationals. As Tanner Thatch starts off the 9th inning with a big swinging strike on Brody Donay, it's 0-1. So the answer, Jan Gomes. You got that one before the game. Not too hard.
I did guess it before the game. Jan Gomes, a long, productive MLB career.
Not a lot of Brazilians in the league. I think that's really the fact that gave it away. As that one is fanned at and missed once more from Brody Donay, who's 0 for 3. Down in the count 1-2 now. Of course, Kettleers Trivia being brought to you by the Cotuit Library. Donay tips that into the glove of Brooks Bryan, and Tanner Thatch collects his second strikeout. So 2 batters faced. And 2 Ks for Tanner Thatch as Drew Farreau will dig in.
So the 12th strikeout of the day for this Kettleer pitching staff. They've done a really nice job getting punch-outs against Brewster, just still find themselves trailing.
Farreau also had a tough day at the plate, 2 strikeouts with a ground out. Switch hitter will be batting from the right side to face the lefty Tanner Thatch. Now Thatch evens it up at 1-1. So a lot of times you'll see a position player jump into the ball game as a pitcher, maybe when the team is down by 8 runs, 10 runs, just to save the bullpen. But Kettleers bringing Tanner Thatch on down 2 in this ball game, as that one's roped down the left field line and barely fair. Drew Farreau on his way to second. The throw comes in from Compton, scooped up by Advincula, and Drew Farreau collects himself a 1-out double.
That ball was just blasted off the bat of Drew Farreau, and another time here where Brewster extra base hits, and this is a big spot here. Just need insurance runs, and now they have Farreau in scoring position.
Here's Dallas Macias. Also a switch hitter. That's what it says on his baseball reference page, at least. He's 0 for 3 so far today and will bat from the left side against Thatch. Now he takes outside. Coming off his second season at Oregon State, played in 59 games there and hit .315. So far 0 for 3 today as Thatch checks back at second, a 1-0 count to Macias. Played in the West Coast League a summer ago, played for Victoria, 36 games there. Small sample size so far on the summer, though. He's still looking for that first base hit. Now he fights this one off towards Advincula, who reaches back and into the shallow right field. He pulls down the second out.
Nice shot by Thatch there, just running that last pitch in on the hands of Macias, who fights that off and blooper right into the glove of Advincula.
This is a big moment for Tanner Thatch, who, just as mentioned, is not a guy you enter in the game when you're down by 10. trying to save the bullpen. And really, how huge is this that Tanner Thatch is taking up one of these innings that normally would be taken up by a useful arm for the Kettleers in their bullpen.
There's a long stretch of games that are upcoming. Kettleers on the road for the next 3, and always crucial when you can get extra outs, and Thatch providing that here today.
0-1 pitch, big swing and miss to get Blake Binderup back to 0-2. Binderup is 1 for 2 today, a single bookending 2 swinging strikeouts. He came around to score in that 5th inning. He was the second run of the game, and now a 4-3 lead for the Whitecaps as the 0-2 pitch from Thatch is on its way. And barely outside. Barely clubbed foul by Binderup. And he remains up there, fighting with a 1-2 count on Tanner Thatch, as Nick Dumino awaits in the on-deck circle. He is 2 for 4. Kettleers will definitely not like to face him in this top of the 9th inning. Skies continue to darken above Lowell Park. Thatch is 1-2. Just beneath the zone, count evens up at 2-2 on Binderup. Tanner Thatch, an illustrious high school pitcher. In his senior year, serving as the team's captain, pitcher, and first baseman as he picks up his 3rd strikeout of the summer right there, drawing a fan and miss of Blake Binderup to end the top of the 9th inning. So the Whitecaps will leave 1 runner in scoring position, still leading 4-3, and the Kettleers will have their last chance when we return here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
We hope to see you there. The Kettleers baseball clinics are well underway in the summer of 2024, offering boys and girls ages 6 through 17 with the opportunity to learn from some of the most experienced coaches and some of the top college baseball players in the country. With no prior baseball experience necessary, the camps teach kids the fundamentals of baseball, as well as good citizenship, sportsmanship, and character. With just a few weeks of camp left, time is running out. So to sign up, head over to info.collegebaseballcamps.com/CK. Again, that's info.collegebaseballcamps.com/CK. We hope to see you there. The Kettleers baseball.
Looking to connect with the right business? Zoom Info's got you covered. With a database of over 100 million company profiles, they provide top-notch data to boost sales and marketing growth. Since 2007, Zoom Info's B2B data quality has ensured that businesses have the best intelligence right at your fingertips. Discover more at zoominfo.com and see how you can get connected today. Looking to connect with bottom of the 9th inning, Zach Johnston will head out to the bump, trying to finish off the 9th win of the summer for this Brewster Whitecaps team. And Luke Hansen will lead things off. It's the bottom of this order. They got things started in the bottom of the 2nd inning. What do you want to see from them here?
Well, I think for this bottom of the lineup, they've worked good at bats. Luke Hansen, he has a hit today. He's reached twice. Charles Davalon, he had an RBI double before. Jaron Advincula, he's dangerous. But I think here against Johnson, you have to see a lot of pitches because he hasn't really had his control. That's now the 10th ball he's thrown today out of 21 pitches.
Yeah, pretty even on the strikes and balls. Luke Hansen taking a ball 1 and now swatting 1 foul. So 1-1 on Hansen, who today at the plate knocked his first single in the 5th. He walked and also struck out. So in his young Kettleers career, he is 1 for 3. And now in the driver's seat, 2-1. Goes after a pitch low and outside, and the count's 2-2. Hansen getting his first start today. Playing at third base, his only other appearance last Friday in Chatham. The 2-2. And the count's full. So this is exactly what you need from the leadoff man, working the count full.
5 pitches so far in this at-bat against Hansen, and he's done a nice job.
Now he puts this one on the ground towards third. Up with it, gunning is Cuvet, in time to get Hansen for the first out.
A good battle between Hansen and Johnston there, but Johnston just ran one on the inside part of the plate, and Hansen just rolls over it to third.
So 2 outs left on the board for the Whitecaps to get. It'll be Charles Davallon, 1 for 3. A lefty-on-lefty matchup as Johnston throws to a bunting Davallon, who pulls it away and takes a strike 1. So on the other side, the bullpen also being saved for Brewster. Zach Johnston just the third arm used. Now Davallon shoots that one just past Jaron Advincula. Now it's 0-2. Advincula nearly taking that foul ball down beneath his knees.
That was a bullet off the bat of Davallon.
Behind that fastball from Johnston, who's now ahead 0-2. Donay lines up low and outside. He throws it right there, but it's too far outside, and 1-2 the count to Davallon, who grounded out his last time up and hit a heat-seeking missile at first base, but that ended up being a double play. So an unfortunate day at the plate for him in his last 2 plate appearances, as he grounds that one towards Mike Roberts, who nearly makes the play. That's the first time this season we've seen Roberts try to field a ground ball at the third base side. Usually just lets it whiz right by him. Now Davallon takes that one off of his right elbow guard. And the umpire's going to say he leaned into it. Out number 2. Zach Johnson nodding his head up and down, and Mike Roberts will have a word with the home plate umpire, Joseph Giasio. What'd you see there?
Didn't look like Davallon leaned into that pitch. And Mike Roberts is clearly not happy. Davallon was shocked.
Yeah, you hear Mike Roberts right now saying Giasio waited until they yelled at him, saying that Brewster's reaction is why he made that call. And Giasio not giving him the time of day. Roberts just asking for an explanation here.
Roberts didn't even get an explanation.
Nope.
There is still going at it. There will be a pinch hitter, though. Nolan Araki pinch hitting for Jaron Advincula.
So in the scorebook, that'll go down as Davallon striking out on an automatic strike called by the home plate umpire, barely leaning in and getting nicked on the right elbow guard with that pitch from Zach Johnston, who's now just 2 strikes away from completing the 9th win of the Whitecaps 24 summer. So an 0-1 count to Nolan Naraki. Got the start in last night's game and batted 9th. Now he gets underneath this one and swats it foul once more. So an interesting move there, but understandably to get rid of that lefty-on-lefty matchup. Put the right-handed bat Nolan Naraki up at the plate, even though Jaron Advincula going into this game led the CCBL in batting average. Now the 0-2. Naraki takes down in the dirt. Nolan Naraki with a bunt single to lead off the 10th inning in last night's game. Did come around to score. 2 nights ago in Hyannis, as the 1-2 pitch misses wide, and it's 2-2. Infield and outfield straight up for Naraki. The 2-2 pitch once more. Taken low and inside, ball 3.
A couple of players jumped up. But Naraki doing a good job working the count full after starting down 0-2.
The payoff pitch. Naraki flares that one into right field. Charging in is Rogers. He'll let it take a hop. And Nolan Naraki keeps the Kettleers' hopes alive with a 2-out single.
And that's a big hit for Naraki, a guy who's really been struggling at the dishes. 3 for his last 23, but does a nice job there, flaring a pitch into right field after Johnson attacked him on the outside corner.
Yeah, just doing anything he can, leaning out over the plate, flicking it off the end of his bat for a single for Naraki, who is now on first for Tyler Cerny, batting in the leadoff spot. Takes outside, 1-0 on Zach Johnston. Cerny, a fly out to center field that was taken down by Nick Duminil as he was crashing into the right center field fence. A deep fly by Tyler Cerny. Nearly has himself his first home run of the summer, but he gets another chance just an inning later. The Kettleers would like a ball hit just like that right here, but it's instead rolled on the ground towards shortstop, and Farreau will make the easy flip to second, and that will end the ball game. So the Kettleers fall 4-3 following the off day here on Tuesday night as the Whitecaps capture their 9th win of the summer, a 4-3 win over the Kettleers here at Lowell Park.
Just another close loss for Cotuit. So far in the month of July, another one-run loss. Just the offense struggled really through big parts of this game. A couple of 1, 2, 3 innings worked by this Brewster pitching staff, and just too little too late for Cotuit. Mike Roberts still wants an explanation.
Yeah, he does. He's going to be late to the handshake line as the umpires make their way to the exits. And the Kettleers will take a huddle after dropping the off day, or dropping a game after the off day, to fall back to 12-8-0 on the summer. Brewster improves to 9-11-0. And Alex, the Kettleers falling behind early once again. It's something that we've talked about a lot this season, and now falling back to 6-6 when they don't score the game's first run.
Yeah, and the offense just had a slow start really to get the day going against the starter Ryan Uri, a 1-2-3 bottom of the first. Then they put things together in that bottom of the second with a 2 RBI double by Charles Davalon. But after that moment, 7 straight batters retired by Ryan Ure, and this bullpen for Brewster really did a nice job coming in, ate up a lot of innings. Luke Guth, he allowed just 1 run in 3 innings and really silenced this Cotuit offense, who had been swinging the bat well over the last 2 games.
And this offense has really been inconsistent over their last 5 games, really since the start of July, where they started out really slow, and then in the last 2 games with all those runs that they piled on against Bourne, and then late in the game against Hyannis. I mean, they scored 15 runs in the last 2 games, and it was really a game and a half. But tonight, just scoring 3 runs, not getting as many hits as the Whitecaps, in an offensive category where they've really faltered is hitting with the runners in scoring position, especially in this game. But again, it really doesn't do you any good when you're not putting the runners there to begin with.
And tonight, just 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Left 7 guys on base, and that's a great point, like you mentioned, Joe. And that's something that Mike Roberts has talked a lot about post-game with Adele Huffman, of they need to be more consistent game in, game out. Can't take any pitches off, and also saying that they need to be more clutch. So that's really a recipe for disaster if you're consistently leaving guys on base, and today it came back to bite the Kettleers.
Yeah, it did. And as for tomorrow, the Kettleers will hit the road and take on Wareham on the road. Wareham, of course, the #1 team in the West Division right now and the best team in the Cape Cod Baseball League. So it'll be a tough one, and you're definitely going to need to have an offense that shows up 1 through 9, as Mike Roberts has been talking about. So how do they do that tomorrow?
And Wareham currently beating Chatham 6-0, so they're well on their way to win number 14 so far this summer. But what do? Is you try and really work deep counts in your at-bats tomorrow against this Wareham pitching staff. And when the Kettleers are at their best, they're consistently working deep in accounts. Guys like Tanner Thatch, Tyler Cerny do an excellent job of getting to full counts, fouling off tough pitches. So that's when this Cotuit lineup is really at its best, but also they're driving the baseball. They haven't really done that over the last few games outside of Tanner Thatch, who's consistently came up, hit home run after home run, driving. He drove in another double today. He came around and scored. So Tanner Thatch really doing a consistent job, but you need more guys to step up outside of Thatch.
And speaking more on that, the Kettleers first baseman getting some looks today on the mound once again, his second time against the Brewster Whitecaps. How huge is that for him to eat up the last inning and a third and save the bullpen?
There's a lot of games upcoming in this stretch.
Yeah.
3 consecutive road games for the Kettleers, and it's massive. For Tanner Thatch to come in, really do a nice job out on the mound and not throw a lot of pitches, really limiting the amount of pitchers that are used. And we've talked about it, just the long stretches of baseball. Cotuit came off an 11-game and 13-day stretch. So any time that Mike Roberts has a chance to save his bullpen and get another guy to eat up an extra inning, he'll take it.
8 hits on the board for the Whitecaps at the end of this game when it's all said and done. 7 of them coming from 1 through 4 in the lineup and from the 9-man in the lineup. So how important is that, just to keep the offense going, but more importantly have them in those kind of spurts at the top of the order, but from the bottom half wrapping around back to the top?
Well, and they were big hits in the middle of this lineup. Caden Kent, he doubled and came around to score. Ryder Helfrich, he had a home run back in the first inning with 2 outs. And then, of course, Daniel Cuvet hit a 454-foot shot. So just really impressive stuff, but it's massive. Anytime you can get a guy like Blake Binder up who gets on base, just allows Nick Dumanil, who led off this game, he was 2 for 4. So the top of the lineup for the Whitecaps team just consistently had guys on base, and they delivered, unlike Cotuit.
So it's back-to-back losses here at Lowell Park and back-to-back wins at Lowell Park for the Brewster Whitecaps, and a big reason to that, the long ball. And so as a pitcher and as a pitching staff, to be able to limit that is so important, especially against a team like Brewster. But this is a team that played incredible defense throughout this entire ball game, and of course that one play back in the 3rd inning to rob Tanner Thatch of what could have been his seventh home run of the season proves to play a massive difference.
That was J.D. Rogers making an outstanding play, leaping up right in front of that fence out in right field and robbing Tanner Thatch of what would have been extra bases, but even home run number 7, like you mentioned, Joe. And that's something that Mike Roberts talks a lot about, pitching and defense helping out and really being the catalyst for why you're winning games. And Brewster had that today. They made pitches in the right spots, held Cotuit to just 3 runs, and J.D. Rogers made an outstanding catch.
Brewster with 13 strikeouts. They worked just 1 walk. It's a pretty good day for Kettleers pitching, other than a couple of spurts of offense, and it was more of that timely hitting, which is something that we've talked a lot about in terms of the Kettleers not doing too well in that category, but Brewster firing on all cylinders with runners in scoring position tonight. But for them to be able to score some runs and get some timely hitting, that ends up being the difference in this ball game. And in just a few moments, Mike Roberts will join Adele Huffman at field level after game 20 of the season. And Alex, can you believe it? We're halfway through the season now, 20 games through, and the Kettleers sitting at a 12-8 record. What do you think we should think of that as fans and as Kettleers players are thinking? How should we take this?
Well, it's been a crazy 20 games to start the year. The season's definitely been flying by, and you've seen the Kettleers be a really streaky team. They started off the year 1-3 in the first 4 games, then rattled off a 6-game winning streak, and really kind of similar in the month of July. Started off 1-3 in the month, then won back-to-back games leading into today, but just inconsistency, even in games that they're winning, just long stretches where the offense goes dead. So while there's been a lot of highs for this Kettleer team, they've also been inconsistent at several times throughout the campaign.
Yeah, that's right. They won 8 of their last 9 games in the month of June, and are now 3-4 to start off the month of July. And Cotuit with the CCBL best 38-18 record in the month of June since 2021. And that rough patch was improved upon last year in terms of the month of July. They went 15-9 in July. But since 2021, Cotuit 36-35-1 during the longest month of the season, and that is not including the 3-4 record right now. So a completely different clip when you're looking at the June record compared to the July record, and Cotuit at an even 500 since 2021 in the month of July. How much does that stick out to you?
Well, I think it's something that you definitely have in the back of your mind, that there's always been this struggle of, like you got off to such a hot start in June, but whenever July runs or rolls around, they lose steam. But I think it also helps this year with the MLB draft getting pushed back just a moment, and the Kettleers not really losing a lot of guys. In years past, they've seen Cotuit lose 10, 11 players in a year. This year, not a lot of guys. It's a relatively young team for the Kettleers, so should be a more consistent roster throughout the longest month.
Do you think that having a younger roster maybe helps the idea of keeping people around for the entire summer?
I think it does, but it also there's drawbacks to it, because sometimes it's always good to have a guy who has a lot of experience, has gone through years of summer ball, years at the collegiate level, to sort of act like a mentor. But it does help of the point of you're constantly not losing guys to the MLB draft or going to the draft combine.
And, of course, with the shorter season, with the College Baseball World Series being taken more into account for summer ball, 40 games, there's a bit less time. There's four times less opportunities in terms of 4 less games. And so for these players, they need to take advantage of every single opportunity they can get. And with this Kettleers lineup and roster, we're not seeing as much turnover, like you said, in the last 2 seasons. So you would think that the transition from the month of June to the month of July could be a bit more seamless. But so far, a 3-4 record. And to go on the road, it's kind of somewhere where the Kettleers have played really well in recent games, especially so far this season with the lowest road ERA in the entire CCBL. So that's got to feel good going into this road trip if you're a Kets fan.
It has to, and they've played, like you mentioned, Joe, just really well on the road. They've had timely hitting, and it's just been a perfect storm. Of course, when you have one of the best pitching staffs against or away from Lowell Park, that certainly helps, and it's going to be a tough stretch. Of course, the game tomorrow against Wareham, they're playing extremely good baseball, and then Thursday it's right back against Hyannis, a team that you struggled in throughout most of that game offensively, took scoring 5 unanswered in the 9th and 10th to pull away with the victory. And then on Friday, you're still traveling to Harwich, who right now sits with a 9-10 record, but definitely going to be a tough stretch of 3 games for the Kettleers.
Yeah, these are some difficult matchups coming up. You got a Wareham team that's in the top of the West Division, and then Hyannis, who is vying for the 2nd spot in the West Division now, trying to battle with the Kettleers for that number 2 spot. And then after that, they'll head to Harwich, as you mentioned, a really strong team also battling for the number 2 spot in their respective division. And the Kettleers will be here on Saturday night against the Chatham Anglers in a home game just before hitting the road again towards Bourne and Yarmouth Dennis before another off day on July 16th. So the Kettleers not having too many home games coming up in the next week or so, but a lot of games to be played. And, of course, that one makeup game on Thursday night being against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. We won't see the Brewster Whitecaps again until later on this season. The Kettleers will travel to Stony Brook Field. It'll be a 4 p.m. start time by that time on July 29th. So Mike Roberts breaks the huddle. He was just recently talking with all of the offensive players. The pitching guys and bullpen guys broke off into their own separate huddle. But what do you think some of the key points that Roberts was bringing up in that huddle was?
And we've seen him do that a couple of times this summer, but I think some of the key points that he's talking about are things that we've already hit on of you need to do a better job with runners in scoring position, really struggling in that aspect, leaving 7 guys on base only with 2 hits with runners in scoring position, as there were 2 for 7. And that's something that he's consistently hit on, just needing to be clutch and finally getting that go-ahead hit and breaking through in a game that you're losing by 1 or 2 runs.
The Kettleers fall in another one-run game here tonight. In the first 4 losses of this July month, the Kettleers have dropped 2 two-run games and now 2 one-run games. What's the big difference in these games where they're just losing by 1, maybe 2 runs?
Well, it's just taking a couple of plays off and letting a play eat you up, and you saw that from Brooks Bryan, who there's a throw down the third, and Bryan throws it into left field, easily allowing a run to come in and score. And in a 1-run game, eliminating those mental errors really can save you runs on the scoreboard. And if that play isn't made by Bryan, who knows if the run comes in a score, it's still a 3-3 game.
Yeah, it could be. And the Kettleers, it seems like they've just been 1 hit, 1 at bat away from tying late ball games and going on to win late ball games, and it's something that they did really well on Sunday night against Hyannis, where they were able to stay alive, fight for base runners. But the Kettleers maybe getting a base runner taken away from them in that bottom of the ninth inning when Charles Davalon was hit by the pitch but immediately rung up by the home plate umpire to get the second out of that game, or of that ninth inning, to eventually end the ball game. But we talk so much about momentum, Alex, and throughout these ball games, how major is it to get those key plays and stop rallies right where they're at? And it's something that Brewster did a couple different times today.
Well, we talk about it a bunch, and it really is super important for you to make those plays that are needed to make and then go the extra distance and make those other plays. And that was the catch by J.D. Rogers in right field, so it was a perfect storm for Brewster, and they capitalized the momentum of picking up clutch two-out hits. Their first 2 runs of the game came with 2 outs, so they were really doing a good job capitalizing with runners in scoring position and then making those extra plays in the field.
It was Brewster to get that 1-0 lead in the top of the first. Cotuit with 1 run in the 2nd, 6th, and 8th innings. And then Brewster 1 run in that top of the first, as mentioned, a run in the 5th, a run in the 6th, and a run in the 8th. And they fall in this game 4-3. 8 hits on the board for the Whitecaps and 7 for the Kettleers. So Mike Roberts heads to the Kettleers dugout. We'll hopefully have a on-field interview between him and Adele Huffman in just a few minutes, as the Kettleers lose game 20 of the season, falling 4-3 to the Brewster Whitecaps. And we still have a few more minutes away from getting this post-game interview with head coach Mike Roberts. Of course, a frustrating game for him, who was in an argument with the home plate umpire, Joseph Giasio, at the end of that ball game on that call for Charles Davalon. And we can revisit that call. What do you think of it? Davalon maybe leaning over to home plate to try to get an extra base runner for the Kettleers in that 9th inning, but rung up for the second out.
That was just such a tough call, as Davalon, that pitch ran inside on him, didn't really lean into it, but also didn't back out of the way from that pitch, just kind of stood there. So it was a tough call, but that's a really game-changing call there. If Davalon reaches on the hit by a pitch, Naraki gets on. Now you have runners with first and second, and you're heading back to the top of your order with Tyler Cerny. It's a completely different position for Zach Johnson on the mound. More runners on base puts him in a different mindset of how to attack this Kettleer lineup, but the call does not go in favor of Cotuit, and it was a tough second out.
And it's kind of a momentum-crushing play, as, of course, we continue to hit on. So for tomorrow, the Kettleers can only hope for greater offensive output, and they got to that 6th inning tonight in a close game, but more runs at the end of that game given up by the Kettleers, just as they did against Hyannis, but they didn't get the same offensive explosion that they did in the 9th and in the 10th innings. But for the Kettleers, they fall back to 12-8-0. And the Whitecaps improve to 9-11-0. We'll actually take a quick break ahead of Adele Huffman's on-field interview with Mike Roberts. Don't go anywhere. And now Adele Huffman is joined alongside Mike Roberts after Game 20. What do you have for us, Adele?
Thanks, Joe. I'm joined alongside head coach Mike Roberts after Brewster versus Cotuit, a close loss, coach. Elwanger only with 1 error but really did a strong job pitching. What did you like from him?
Well, I just liked his focus. He was really engaged on every pitch, and he made one bad pitch on a 3-0, and the guy hammered it up high, and you got to give credit to their hitter on that. But did I like what I saw? Yeah, I thought his focus in saying you're not going to hit me was kind of like Schulke the other night, and so I think he's growing. He's getting a chance to pitch every 6th day here, where he didn't get that in the spring, and I think he's improving every time he goes out.
And 5 out of the upcoming 6 games are going to be away for the Cats. How do you prepare for any away games in a row?
Only a good team. To be a good team, you have to win away. You have to win away. And so I'm looking forward to it. And, starting tomorrow night with Wareham, if you're a good team, you can win on the road.
And I just got to ask, I saw you signing all those balls for all the little kids, probably from the clinics. How does that feel to just have such an impact on them?
Well, this morning I get the joy of going next in Centerville here. Left there and then went to the library and had about 30 children, anywhere from literally maybe 3 months in a carriage and up to about 6 or 7 years of age, 8, and we sang songs and sang Hey Hey Cotuit, and I read a book about peanut butter and jelly to them, and that's the thing about Cotuit is there's a lot more to, just a ton more to our team and participating in the community. Not just me, a lot of the players and assistant coaches, like we had 2 players at one of the banks this morning. And so that's the joy of being here. If it was just all baseball, I don't know. This is a highly educated community. The library is the centerpiece of Cotuit. And so we enjoyed, and then tonight we had camp night in the dugout. So, yeah, the kids have an awful lot. They bring mom and dad, and we love that.
Well, thank you so much, Coach, and we'll see you tomorrow. Well, I totally agree with Coach. A big part of it is you guys up there, Joe, Alex, Jimmy, and Cam, making this place so special. Be sure to join us tomorrow against Wareham away. This has been Adele Huffman at Lowell Park. We'll see you tomorrow, Cotuit family.
Thanks, Adele. Great stuff as always, and another great post-game interview with Coach Mike Roberts, who dealing with another struggling loss, another 1-1 loss today, and it was a 2-out hitting clinic by the Brewster Whitecaps to really bring them to their 9th win of the season. But one more question for you, Alex. We'll be back in Wareham tomorrow night. Cotuit with kind of a similar offensive output to tonight the last time we were in Wareham, and it was all the way back on Game 3 of the season. So what's going to be a big key to the game for you going into Game 21?
Well, I think for Cotuit this time around against Wareham is they need to do a better job starting early. In that game, they really struggled. They came alive in that 9th inning, loaded the bases. Then, of course, Jaron Advincula, he was pinch hit for Brandon Compton in the middle of that at-bat, but they need to do a better job starting and getting ahead and not always playing from behind.
That's right. The Kettleers will be trying not to play from behind tomorrow night. They did so tonight for 1 inning. They were knotted up until the 5th, and Brewster went on to win the game 4-3. So that's going to do it for our coverage tonight here for Game 20 between the Brewster Whitecaps and the Cotuit Kettleers. For my broadcast partner, Alex Rocco, for our production crew, Jimmy Chantulis and Cam Christie, and for our sideline reporter, Adele Huffman. We thank you for joining us and spending a little bit of your Tuesday night with us. The Kettleers fall 4-3 to the Whitecaps and fall back to 12-8-0 on the season, still in 2nd place in the West Division. We'll talk to you